What spell is that?
Oh, I'm going to wait. You can see it. I think Gordon sent it to you, but it's
Okay.
third or fourth, but it's fun.
I haven't sent them yet, Les. I'll send those later at some point in this week.
All right, sounds good.
The updated sheets.
I think the Stinky Invisible spell would work would work as well for Fletcher as it works for anybody. So, I mean, he doesn't even have to even be invisible.
Too much fun.
So I texted Matt. I don't know where the heck he is, but we'll give him a couple of minutes yet.
I'll call him in his car in a little bit.
he'll log in from like a plane. I'm at 32,000 feet. I'm on the space shuttle.
He'll log in parachuting out from a plane.
He's like, I don't have my books. I'm parachuted out to go get them.
Hang on a second, guys. In 3 seconds, I got to pull the cord.
I bailed out over a Starbucks, so I shouldn't be able to pick up Wi-Fi here.
Yeah, Wi-Fi would be good. I may cut out on the way down between 18,000 and 12,000 feet, but once I get close enough, it should be okay. Oh man.
I don't know if I told you this, Les, but we had a member of our team. We've had a few people leave recently,
okay.
And he's one of our better guys. We're like, well, you made him an offer, right? You tried to keep him. And the guy said, no, he's going to Virgin Galactic. What was I supposed to offer for that? And that's like the 8th person we lost to Virgin Galactic. But that's because one of the presidents of Disney went there. They poached him, and he's now.
Oh, and now he's scooping up all his old guys. That's what that is. We had that happen with the business science division at Mindshare in Chicago, and the VP of business science left, and all of a sudden there were like a half dozen resignations, like all in us. He was basically rebuilding his original team at a different agency. Yeah. And by the time he was done, there was like 3 people left. They were all junior people. We had all kinds of business science projects that were like halfway done. And nobody knew what the hell they were doing. We're just, and my boss, the AD, was just like, the fuck are we going to do? We don't have any people to do this.
Aren't there non-competes to prevent that?
Yeah, those hold up really well.
Yeah, I mean, there can be, but a lot of times, they're full of so many holes that they're basically the non-competes are oftentimes not focused on poaching people like employees. They're focused on poaching clients.
Or IP in our case, intellectual property.
There you go. Yeah. So it's much less of a deal for if you drag your guys that used to work for you away. In fact, a lot of it's and they're just like, if somebody wants to leave, we can't stop them. Look, people moving around in the agency world is really something that happens a lot of, especially in certain locations. Like if you're in LA or Chicago, especially. New York, not as much, which is weird, but in LA and Chicago, people, especially really talented people are really hotly contested for. So, I mean, when I built my team in LA a year and a half ago, 2 years ago, those guys, I got them in their seats, and they weren't in their seats for 2 days when they were already telling me they're getting recruiter emails from LinkedIn and, all that stuff. And they would get half dozen recruiting emails a week. Just from everybody's always looking to steal talent from the other guys.
Maybe that's
what I did. I'm sorry.
Gordon and I have been looking unsuccessfully for a guy that can handle a drill. Maybe that's what we should be doing, going to the competition.
Go.
You guys have significant competition?
Not significant, no.
Okay. Yeah, snag them. Make them an offer they can't refuse.
I don't think that's within my moral code. We were trying to define our alignments the other night for fun.
Yeah.
But I still don't think my alignment would allow me to do that. I just, as a fellow business owner to anybody, that just sucks.
It does. But I mean, it's something that you have to expect a certain amount of, you know what I mean?
It's just the way the world is, Les.
Yeah, I know. So what'd you guys settle on for alignments?
I don't know that we really did settle.
Chaotic evil, both of you.
I said Jennifer was neutral good, and I'm chaotic neutral.
That I would go with. That I would definitely go with.
I don't know. The way you construct your arguments, there's a lawful streak in there.
Well, I know how to play lawful, but I'm not lawful.
Okay.
You got a little lawful in there.
I always imagined chaotic neutrals, the destruction that they leave behind them is largely based on whim. The chaotic neutrals work on a lot on whim. Like certain things just take their fancy and they move off and they go crazy and they do all these things. And there are sometimes deleterious outcomes that come from that, and they would consider that not necessarily their fault, but just bad luck, right?
So like a bipolar chaotic neutral would be really dangerous.
That would be really dangerous. So chaotic neutral might get aggravated at a tavern owner and light the tavern on fire, and that would be him acting on whim or ephemeral emotional states. But the tavern burns down and kills the whole family that lives out back. Well, that would just be their bad luck, right? I think a chaotic neutral would have a great deal of problems taking responsibility for the negative outcomes of their actions.
Well, I'm an experienced chaotic neutral person, so I would never do that.
You've learned some valuable lessons.
Yeah, I've learned some valuable lessons over the years, yes.
Well, and just like that how to play an evil character thing that Don sent out, just because someone is chaotic evil doesn't mean they don't have their own code they follow
Right.
to keep them from just being uncontrollable psychopaths.
Or getting caught a lot.
Hey, well, that's the other part of it, or getting caught.
Matt texted me bad. He says 5 minutes, and that was 7 minutes ago. So I'm expecting him.
So Matt's a liar, is what you're saying.
Well, he's from New York. He's got a tenuous grasp of timing and truth telling.
Am I still on camera?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
My Zoom has disappeared.
Uh-oh.
Oh, it's probably in a little box in the corner of the screen. You probably click to minimize it. Is there like a tiny little box somewhere?
Yeah,
No-
but that's
No, you're not there. No one can see it. Go ahead and do whatever you want.
Go ahead, make faces, flip people over. We don't care.
one's worst nightmare.
Don's new nickname, Mr. Helpful.
Yeah, that's where it was. Thanks, Gordon.
And nobody take offense at the eye rolls.
I never do.
So the eye
Well,
rolls,
while
are we
go
supposed
ahead.
to like stop the camera when we do the eye rolls?
No.
No one told me.
No, I want to capture every eye roll, and then and I've turned the audio way up so that whenever anybody makes this noise, that I capture that too.
Good thing I'm on mute a lot.
That really gentle spitting sound that accompanies an eye roll occasionally. So
Or the under your breath. Are you kidding me?
So we've all gone our separate ways for shopping.
Well, separate ways, yeah, sure. I mean, I'm sure that you guys have paired off into 3s and 4s. So a lot of interesting things have happened, and we'll go over like the last 36 hours or so as we get through it. But first, I wanted to start off tonight. So you guys passed a level and you went shopping. So and I've seen a lot of the shopping lists, and I think there's some really interesting choices being made. So I'm very curious, and this is obviously up to you guys what you want to disclose, Gatto, or not disclose, Gatto. But
I was like, I didn't get anything.
Okay. Wait, I can get stuff and not tell everybody? Awesome.
But I
I
wanted to go
donated 45,000 gold pieces to a church.
the Alishinaria Widows and Orphans Fund,
Yes.
that kind of thing. But I wanted to go ask you guys and say, 11th levels. So it was 11th level, right? You guys
Yeah.
passed to. So
I
that's a
went
pretty big. That's an odd level. So there's interesting things afoot there. But I wanted to go with each of you and just talk a little bit about what you chose and some new things that you got, maybe some new powers. And if you have a mind to, Gatto, you could talk about the stuff that you bought and see if you wanted to share that with everybody or just kind of carry on, Gatto.
In typical Gatto fashion, he's going to type it in a whisper, so his name comes up in chat, but there's no words.
But nobody knows what it is. Yeah, he's
So
like,
he'll
I
be-
told you to shut up.
He'll be secretive right up until that arrow of rogue slaying from Farina hits him in the buttocks.
Can you imagine that on your tombstone? Shot with an arrow of rogues laying in the buttocks by Farina. We'll miss him terribly.
I was
R.I.P.
shot in the buttocks.
So if anybody wants to go first and talk about what they did for 11th level, the mic's open.
No, I'm not.
I'll go first
Okay.
because this affects everyone.
Yeah.
So
He's quitting.
for
He's quitting the game.
No, for 11th level, Lothar got a feat, which it really needs to be confetti and celebration because for priests that doesn't happen very often. But the feat that he chose is called Fateful Channel. So at this point, and everybody can try to help me remember and keep track of this. Whenever he bursts with positive energy to heal living creatures, everybody who gets healed, who's in the burst, you don't have to get healed, but if you're in the burst, you get the ability to roll twice and take the better result on either an attack, skill, or saving throw of your choice. And you get to hold that ability for a number of rounds equal to his charisma bonus, which is +3.
Wow, that's awesome.
Nice. That is an awesome feat.
What's
So
the name of that?
It's called Fateful Channel.
Huh.
So every time he bursts, and they're not stackable. So if he bursts twice in 3 rounds, you just get it once. But if he bursts twice in 6 rounds and the other had expired, you get it again. So you
Or
get
if,
to
or if you've already used one. then
or
yeah.
if you've already used one. So you can choose to roll twice and take the better result on a single attack roll, skill check, or saving throw within 3 rounds of having the burst affect you.
Very cool choice. That is an awesome feat. That's going to come in, I have a feeling, come in handy.
Yes.
So any other interesting powers or abilities that 11th level brought to you?
No, well,
Well,
they
he
did
switched
bring.
to a fighter, but
Yeah, they.
other than that,
Switch fighter.
I got 6 level spells.
Okay.
So, yeah, so that's the big thing for priests at 11th level. You get a feat, and you get 6 level spells. So
All right. So what are some exemplar of spells? So heal is 6th level, right? Or
heal is
5th?
6th level. Heal 6th level.
See, that's big. That's a big deal because heal is pretty much your universal emergency room right there.
Right, and then so priests get whenever you get a new level of spells, you get 1 for your 1 domain spell, and then 1 that you get to choose. So
Okay.
the domain spell for his particular deity at this level was a choice of 1 or 2, but he chose Blade Barrier. So
nice.
Ooh, so you're gonna be causing me a lot of trouble with that.
I certainly hope so.
That's gonna be fun. All right, very cool, very good choices. So, do you want to talk at all about your shopping list?
I have to get back to that page. I didn't really get anything that is sort of overpowered. I went for get a bunch of smaller things that are quite helpful.
Okay.
So the one thing that I think will work out cool. Do you guys know what a vest of surgery is?
I
No.
saw that today.
I think we're gonna
This-
find out.
This is an awesome cleric item,
I hope we don't find out.
although it's pretty low powered, to be honest with you. First off, it acts as a permanent healer's kit. So all of his heal checks are at +5.
Oh, nice.
The other thing that it does is, I believe it's once a day. If you can beat a 20 on your heal check, you can actually heal 1d4 ability damage.
Mm.
So it
So
acts as
it's a free restoration. Then.
it's a free minor restoration, provided he makes the skill check. And the skill check is 20, and his healing skill is 15.
That's a solid. That's a
So
solid thing.
even as pathetic as Lothar rolls,
He's still got a better than average.
he's got a decent chance to get there.
You see,
you
you
got
roll
At
higher than
least
5.
10%
Yeah.
of those, yeah.
Yeah. The other item the other item that he's getting, because it's not ready yet, is something that I think will be helpful for all of us. It's called a Ring of Planar Focus. And you can use the ring of Planar Focus to open up a map of the planes. Locate your spot on the planes. And if you cast Plane Shift while the ring is active, you go right where you wanted to go. There's no 5D 100 miles off.
Nice.
So we can stop expending a teleport to
A
get
teleport
us to
afterwards,
actually where
so-
we want to go. Right. We can get
Yep.
to where we want to go to begin with.
Wow, that's all big.
Yeah, those are really good choices.
And then
Really
the-
solid choices.
The last one, and the only reason I bring it up is because I wanted to, I was out all weekend, so I didn't get a chance to, but I would have liked to have had a chance to talk to Jen about it. It's called Bracers of Falcon's Aim. And if you get a chance, Jen, look that up, because I think Farina would be awesome with that. And the big thing about it is it only lasts for a minute, but if you activate it in combat, a minute lasts for a very long time.
Sure,
It gives you aspect of the Falcon, which I guess is a druid spell.
it
So
is.
Did you check that out? What that
I
spell
did.
does?
Yes, it's +3 to perception, +1 to hit with a ranged weapon. And here's the big one for Farina. It changes your ranged weapon crit from 20 to 19 to 20. So your bow crits on a 19 to 20, and then you get your ×3 damage or the chart.
You left out the funnest part, though, dude, of
What's that?
aspect of the Falcon. Is means that when you enact this spell, in addition to all those other bonuses, you look like a falcon. So
Yeah.
feathers come out of your head. I think you get a beak, and your eyeballs get really really
Yeah, no.
big. So you look like a bird of prey.
You don't get the beak. You get the eyes, which is why
Okay.
you get perception, and some feathers sprout from your brow or what have you. But
I
then
looked at that, but they actually, I thought, because I have the aspect animal focus where I can pick different ones, I thought it was the same as what's in there, which is just a perception check. I didn't realize that those aspects had more to it than,
yeah.
yeah.
So if you want to go back and look at it, if you can cast aspect of the falcon would be outstanding for her, because like I said, your bow crit range goes up to 19 to 20.
Yeah, that's cool.
And as
I'll make a note.
badass as she is, as badass as she is with a bow, that could be deadly.
Well, you've got to the point in your in levels that when you crit, I mean, it's an easy choice. You never take the chart anymore. It's all damage. And as Mike Phillips can attest to, when archers get to that point where they're shooting 4 or 5 arrows at a whack, I mean, Mike, what was your character's name? Balthazar in 13C. I could think of several occasions when you did, well, much more than 100 points a round.
He did 200 points once.
He did 200 points once.
It was a double crit.
Well, and what was the point damage that Jen, that your character did? Because you hit with like 4 and 1 or 2 of them were a crit.
75 or 85. I mean, nowhere close to 200.
Well, I thought it was.
Maybe
I thought it was higher than that, but
maybe
it did,
120.
It did outright kill something.
It did.
That I think had been hit once for like 20 points of damage, and then you pin cushioned it.
It was pretty fun.
It was.
It was pretty fun.
It was pretty fun.
And so add to that, if your crit range was 19 to 20, you still get the ×3 for a bow.
Yeah.
You don't take the chart. You just triple your damage. Anyway.
I made a note for looking at it next time. So thanks.
Yeah, you essentially double the amount of times percentage-wise that you will crit on per die roll. So that's really good. Awesome. Well, Chuck, I think that was really good. I think Lothar is really in the zone. That character's coming together very nicely. So Matt, welcome aboard. We're sort of just talking about level 11 and our shopping lists and what's going on there. Matt's not even listening. So all right. So Jennifer, since we were talking a little bit about you earlier, why don't we talk about what Farina did for 11th level?
I mean,
guys, I'm here. Well, thank you.
Okay. No.
Go ahead, Farina.
No worries. Really, feat-wise and all that, wasn't all that interesting this time, but all the cash was kind of cool. So I upped my dexterity, and I upped which will help with the arrows, and I upped my armor class, which will help with staying alive.
Mm-hmm.
And Otto's going to be a little bit more badass because he's got greater fang.
Right, you got that permanence on him.
Yeah, so that's kind of cool.
So the way I envision that is just like it's just like one fang, one really big one sticking out of the side, sort of, kind of like sticking out there, capped with gold or something like that. That's the way I'm envisioning it.
It's kind of interesting they don't call it fangs plural now that you say that.
Now he's a saber-toothed panther.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. So yeah, that's really the bulk of it. And then some new spells. Just a couple of cool ones, which the only one I'm not going to hold out, I'm going to suck it on Fletcher for fun. So.
Okay. Any things that you're excited, any spells that you're excited to deploy during the next problem you guys encounter?
Yeah, the one that I picked up for Fletcher, but I'm going to keep it under wraps till I get an opportunity.
All right. All right.
I mean, no big deal, but yeah, it's really exciting. It's cool.
Very cool. All right. Well, sounds good. Dan, what about Fletcher? Fletcher, 11th level barbarian.
Lots of things I got to pick, and I this time I did something very different. I put everything into abilities like dance and defense abilities.
Perfect.
No, of course not. Fletcher just got more Fletchery is all. It's all it adds up to. But a lot of things happened. He gained a 3rd attack. He gained greater rage. His power strike ability went up. I bought a +3 Furious Greatsword with my money, as well as upgrading my con belt to be a +4 strength belt. So basically, he's going to hit more often and do a hell of a lot more damage.
So you get a 3rd attack at 11th level.
Yep.
All right. In exchange for that, I'm assuming that you gave up the hammer that locks people to the ground. Pretty sure you
When I
don't need
get the sword, I will give the hammer to Gatto,
that. Oh,
which will make
Wait,
you
what?
hate it even more.
I don't think I don't think Gatto's I don't think he's qualified to use a hammer of such a thing.
Isn't that hammer on
helps-
loan to us from
I'm a caravan guard, which is a fighter
the-
class. So
the
yes, I can
dwarven-
use it.
the
Oh,
dwarven
no.
people?
Yes, this is the one on loan, Matt. But so we have to give it back someday.
Someday.
If you make it back to Dresden, make it back
Right.
alive. Well, you were just in Dresden, Fletcher. You could have handed it back to them right then, but you kept it. All right. Sounds like Fletcher is just becoming, as you put it, even more Fletchery.
I'm thinking the lawful good members of the party probably don't even watch him when he's fighting anymore because they can't handle it.
It's so gruesome.
Yeah, they got to go. They're demons and they deserve it. They're demons and they deserve it.
Little pieces flying all over everywhere.
I just watch in case you need a pure light.
He just goes, beep, you're like, there's another 6
Yeah.
points.
That's
All
it.
right. Well, anything else that you wanted to add, Dan?
Nope.
Okay. Well, how about you, Gordon? How about Bardos? Now, Bardos is a complicated man, android, I mean, and so I'm curious as to what directions you went with level 11.
Pretty much just more support. The feat I took was extend spell, which
Solid meta magic feat.
gonna let me do like haste twice as long and other stuff like that.
Already disliking that.
Yeah, the spells I took this time, well, I bought a bunch of scrolls to get more lower level spells, but I took Mass Bull Strength and Greater Dispel Magic, which are both really strong support spells,
Mm-hmm.
which will make Fletcher even more Fletchery. Plus
Greater
4 to strength.
Dispel is one of those that it's just like when you drop it in a situation and it succeeds, it completely disrupts plans. I mean, it's just it can turn a situation in a complete 180.
Pretty sure you used that us in the Undead City and effed us up pretty good for a minute.
Oh yeah.
As I recall, it was a nearly TPK with one of us escaping and reviving the rest of the party.
Was that the Banshee that was when you guys were dealing with the Banshee in the big stairway?
It was something like that where we were just outmatched for a moment because it was like greater spell, and I can't remember that. There was also we were in the jail. I can't remember one of those two, but
That was a bad day, the Banshee day. Ooh.
yeah.
It was tough.
I think the initial thing dropped like 2 of us before the fight
Yeah.
even started.
The first scream, yeah. So
Yeah,
Bardos,
we don't
so
need to talk about the Banshee. I'm still salty about that.
Let it go.
That thing nuked twice, way too close together.
Yeah. Yeah.
Gordon, from a shopping list standpoint, did you get anything interesting? Anything that you wanted? Or were you...
Just more support. I got a Cloak of Resistance +4, Ring of Protection, and then the Headband of Intelligence +4. So just all stuff to buff me up a little more.
Gotcha.
Give me a little bit
Okay.
better AC and better saves.
And now you'll be vastly intelligent.
Well, I already was vastly intelligent.
As I say, you were already smarter than everybody else in the party by like a factor. So
Now you're
Yeah.
not going to want to hang out with us anymore. You're going to be like completely uninspired by our company and find us all to be droll. And
It's a great big science experiment for Bardos. He's loving every minute of it.
He's starting to refer to you collectively as my friend Dunces.
guys, why are we dragging Stephen Hawking along? Come on.
All right. Well, so Matt, you're the new guy, at least from an attendance standpoint. So, what about Flashheart level 11?
Flashheart fell asleep reading a book to his son, so he's like all disoriented here. Blah, blah, blah. So I don't have any new powers at 11, with the exception of my Divine Bond every 3 levels past 5. So this will be level 11. I get a +1 on my Divine Bond, I guess. I
Okay.
read that right. So that'll add a little more to the Radiance power. And then I would think all the characters, Flashheart is the most conflicted of the filthy lucre that we're dealing with here. But he decided to use it for good. And I want to make sure, because I didn't fully read on what magic I was going to choose, but there's a Cloak of Charisma that I think I can afford, which would be give me a +4 to Charisma.
That's solid. That'd be a nice choice.
There's a +6, but I can't afford a +6, so we go a +4, which would be, I think that's going to be pretty devastating.
Going to be the most popular prime in Illusionera. With all that charisma.
Recognize. I do not feel any charisma right now. I feel.
You know what you need? Cocktail. That'll sort you right out.
Here, sir.
There you go.
Yeah.
I do it.
My son's having trouble sleeping, so I gave him a melatonin, and then without even thinking about it, I just popped 2 in my mouth too, and then I'm reading the book too. I'm like, so sleepy. All right, I'm ready.
Very cool. All right. So, Gatto, what about you? And we're gonna talk a little bit about you here in a minute as well.
Gaining a level of caravan guide, I took a couple of feats. One of them was skill focused perception, so that I could, more easily spot danger before it approached us, and also able to find, traps and things of that nature, because that's what I'm really here for, is to help disable traps. I also took combat reflexes, so I have a lot more attacks of opportunity, although I hope not to be anywhere near combat, so I have to take them. But if I have to, I'm there.
Okay.
Those late night commercials. Go ahead.
Internal lessons that I've been teaching myself or have learned along the way. As far as appearance goes, with the help of Gordon and his crafting of magic items, I now have 2 sets of goggles hanging around my neck that at different times I will put up in front of my eyes and look through.
There's got to be some sort of thing that you can put out on a wheel or something where you can move them like this way and back.
I imagine them just both hanging down around my neck, and I just grab one and put it up.
Like Locutus, when he comes in with his laser eye.
Either that, or you can be a Cylon now.
Yeah.
What was the one?
By your command.
And it moved the picture. What was that when we were kids? The red thing.
Oh, the
Viewmaster.
The Viewmaster.
Oh yeah.
or Ben Franklin's glasses from National Treasure.
You'll also notice I used to have a long bow that I had to drag around and a quiver with some arrows. They don't seem to be visible anymore. I do have a quiver that seems to hold all of that I used to have to carry. I don't have to anymore. And I have my grandfather's elven blade, curved elven blade. I will draw that sometimes, but I don't carry it around with me as much as I used to. It's just available when I need it. The last different thing you may notice is I've got a different hat that I'm wearing.
Should we show to everybody?
I look like Gatto. I no longer look like the drow elf.
Gatto.
I am Gatto wearing a hat. Les, you want to show them what hat I have?
I sure do.
What the hell?
Your armadillo hat?
So this is kind of an artist rendition.
My head.
So yeah, there's essentially an armadillo on the top of his head, resting on his head, and it's not like a dead armadillo, that's hollowed out.
Armadillo.
It's very much. Ned. His name is Ned, and when you guys look over at him, Ned's like, "Hi, how's it going?"
I'm very friendly, very peaceful.
Yeah.
Do not treat him hostilely, and he will not treat you hostilely.
I'm going to put $20 right now to on a laser printer armadillo hat that Don has to wear around. Anybody else want to donate to this? Because if we can get a laser printer out of this, I think it's well worth our money to see Don on camera with that on.
It will be. Yeah, I will wear it.
So yeah, Ned is actually quite friendly for an armadillo. He sits on top of Gatto's head, and for those of you who are sitting close, he'll actually talk to you. He's like, "Hi, my name's Ned. What's your name?"
He's very curious, very friendly.
Very curious and very friendly, but he does not leave Gatto's head.
No. I found him in the market, thought this is really cool. I'm going to keep him as a pet. He and I have grown quite fond of each other over the last few hours while you guys were shopping.
Gatto's my favorite person.
I'm picturing Otto eating it the first time he sees it.
No.
Bad kitty.
So other than that, it's just another normal day for Gatto.
There you go. All right, and last but not least, Mike Phillips, Ilindar, 11th level summoner, comes back from his foray to Dresden, big bags under his eyes, looking a little worse for wear, but certainly a smile on his face. What is Ilindar doing for 11th level, and what happens to Storm?
Did you approve my list?
I believe I don't know if I did or not. I don't know if I got your list.
I sent it.
I'll send you my list. I'll send it to you.
Sent it this evening.
I don't know. I don't
I'm
know if I
basically
did or not.
taking a page out of Farina's book and
Okay.
getting the permanent magic thing for Storm.
Oh yeah, I did see it. Yeah, and it looked all good to me,
Okay.
including the addendum.
So, okay, no takebacks then, because I'm going to explain to everyone else what I'm doing with this. It's a total piss off less item.
They're all total piss off less items.
Oh, I did get one of those too, but go ahead. I'm sorry.
So got that. I got a strength item for Storm because 28 wasn't a high enough strength, so now she's got 32.
It's lovely.
It basically is all about just making her better at combat. And then the other thing I got for Illandar was gloves of shaping.
Yeah, so this is an interesting magic item, and I was really intrigued to find out where your head was at on this. So tell them what gloves of shaping do for those who don't know.
Effectively, if you guys know the semi-high level spell Stone Shape from a cleric, it allows you to basically anything stone or actually that spell is just stone. You can change the shape, which that by itself isn't great. But when you can make doors where there weren't doors or enlarge a window or stuff like that, that's where it becomes super useful. And these gloves allow me to do that pretty much at will. It's slower than the spell. It's only 1 cubic feet per round. But
you can keep doing it.
I can keep doing it. So next time we want to go to a vault, I can just dig down. Of course, it's going to take us a week and a half, but I can just dig down through the dirt, through the stone, and just tunnel our way right in there.
Wow.
So it's mostly for dungeon type stuff. There's a door that Gato couldn't undo the trap. Then I just open the wall up next to it and we go through that as
So
opposed
it's useless.
You're a Horda. You're a Horda now.
Exactly. As long as someone can do the what's the quote?
Which one? The Spock quote or the red red shirted security guard? Ah!
No, the I'm a bricklayer, or I'm a doctor, not a bricklayer.
Oh yeah.
That'd be a Lothar's line. So that's as far as items. As far as there's nothing big that happened. Storm's mouth got a little bit bigger, so basically I got improved natural attack, so it kicked it up 1 category. So her mouth bites a little harder. And as far as Illandar, he really didn't get much new. This wasn't a big level for him.
Nothing specific, or
what's that?
Nothing specific, or nothing interesting from a summoning standpoint.
I got either like 1 second or 1/3 level spell, and I'm not even sure which one I grabbed.
Really, that's kind of lackluster for 11th level.
Yeah, like I said, the Storm got several bonus, like +1s to attack, +1s to strength and dex, plus that kind of stuff. But
so the focus at 11 was more on your dragon.
Exactly. There you go.
Ow!
Actually, the one thing she's got now, just temporarily, because you change out evolutions each round or each level. I'm saving up because at 13th level she's going to get huge. But spend the points until then. So right now she's got resistance to acid and fire now that she didn't have before.
Ooh, that's pretty good.
So
yeah, Storm becoming a real problem for DMs and other players alike, I think.
And players, yeah.
Mike, you missed an opportunity to give her bleed on every one of her attacks.
It was a crit or something I was looking at, or an item that would do that. It was only one, and I'm like this party.
Yes. 6 attacks, they all cause bleed.
Yeah, cause bleed.
At which point I just throw in my books and I just like, somebody else DM, I've had it with you guys. All right, well, a lot of, I'm sorry, go ahead.
I was going to say, bleed is Don's piss off less move. I've got different piss off less moves, so.
Great. I love that you guys are thinking of ways to aggravate me as you're long-suffering and hardworking DM, because that's really what the game is all about.
That's the only reason we're here. I mean, really.
All right. Well, very cool. That's a lot of interesting directions that you guys are taking your characters. A lot of interesting picks from a shopping standpoint. Just to give you guys, so like I said before, I'm a third of the way through a narrative that covers the last 24 to 36 hours that you guys since you guys have left the Red Lands Consortium building. But I'm not done with it. I hope to be done with it today, but not. So we're just gonna go real quick. You guys get back to the hotel with the money, and it's a lot of money. It's a huge amount, and basically once you sort of empty the sacks and unloads things in the portable hole and the haversacks and what have you, I mean, it's an enormous stack of money. 300,000 gold coins plus is just an incredible amount of money. And I mean, you're just sort of there's a period where you guys are sort of just like standing around it and looking at it and going, did we really do this thing? Because it's something that's completely, alien to you guys. You guys did that, ordered late supper, plus, some various kinds of things, a little extra wine, that kind of stuff. But very quickly, you guys had been at Red Lands for the better part of a day, fighting your way from building to building, versus giants, versus Nosferatu, versus, ultimately versus a lich. And frankly, you were a little pooped. So,
hey, Les, before I forget, I got something I wanted to ask too. You had mentioned at one point that there was maybe some Nihydrian crystals unrefined.
Yeah.
That's
true.
Can we pull that? Because I don't want to leave that laying around. If that was there, we need to take that if we can.
Yeah.
At least some of them.
We can take some of it as proof.
Well, there was some, yeah. So what you did notice is that it was strictly in ore. The crystals were still in the stone matrix. They had not been refined in any way or removed from thing like the mithril that
and they're
Farina
not
picked
supposed
up.
to have that, right? I mean, that should be, because that's
They
supposed to
should
be
not have that at all.
Yeah, it's supposed to be destroyed.
Right. So, as you guys know, the Nihydrian crystals are mined on this plane. Now, part of your remit from Queen Galfrey was to go to Nocticula and basically say, hey, look, a Rilu Vorlesh is mining Nihydrian crystals on your plane without your knowledge, sneaking them into the prime material plane where they were anyway, being distilled into Nihydrian serum, which creates either it kills you or it creates mythic powers with it. It gives creatures powers, and that she's been conducting experiments and empowering various demons with this material, all under your nose, and probably without paying any sort of taxes, which maybe Nocticula would be sensitive to. So part of your job, I mean, really the ultimate job, the reason that you want to see Nocticula in the first place, and frankly, the reason behind almost all of the things that you have done so far in Alishaneria is to create enough sort of notoriety to get the attention of these people. Yeah, to get her attention so that you guys can wrangle a meeting and convince her. Ultimately, the job is to convince her to stand against a Rilu Vorlesh, deny them the ability to mine crystals openly, and sort of drive a wedge between these two very powerful demon lords. So that's ultimately the goal. But yeah, so finding Nihydrian crystal ore in Red Lands Consortium tells you a couple of things. One, obviously Red Lands Consortium is potentially doing business with a Rilu Vorlesh, and maybe even invested in this operation. Because remember, Redlands will do a couple of things. One, they will sell slaves flat out to mining concerns, and that's their primary mode of business. But in certain cases where they believe that a business case can be made for them to actually invest in mining concerns, they will actually invest their own money and take a portion of the profits. The fact that ore is in the vault would recommend itself to that. These are either samples or part of that sort of profit sharing of Red Lands investments, the consortium's investments, which taken to its logical extent could indicate that Ilali, the Lich, might be an investor with a Relo Vorlesh in whatever operation they've got going on with these Nihydrian crystal mines. And that these samples that were in the vault of Nihydrian crystals were Relo Vorlesh providing either some sort of compensation or demonstrating to Red Lands, hey, how's it going? Demonstrating to Red Lands Consortium that this was going to be a profitable operation. So yeah, I mean, it is there only in ore format, which you could take some of. I mean, there's more there than you could realistically make off with, but you could probably take several pounds of ore with Nihydrian crystals in it. Now, remember the dangers posed to primes by Nihydrian crystals. Exposure can be deleterious, can be detrimental to health and other things.
Yeah, thanks for bringing that up, Gordon, because I've forgotten about that. I wanted to grab some just as proof, because we've taken out and we've basically broken what's her name's only rule. So I wanted something to go back and say, yeah, sure, we knew ahead of time they were doing this, and we took them out, and look, they're going behind your back on something.
Prove this. Yeah.
Yeah, that you said no to. So
they're giving a bad name to the name of liches everywhere.
Right.
All right. Well, we'll try to store that somehow. That's whatever we can take of that. And
I mean, is there a way that you can sort of, do you have some sort of protective somehow that you can, keep to keep from damaging yourselves by proximity to these crystals, which can
be on our person all the time. We'll probably just leave it in a corner in a chest in a room or something, or
like a chest or some sort of covering.
Yeah, some kind of.
Okay.
The lead plating that Gatto uses every time Flash does detect evil. We're just going to take that from him and fashion a chest out of it.
Okay.
I can empty one of my pockets in my haversack and just store it there.
Yeah, that's what I was saying.
Will it hold 20 pounds of raw ore?
If it's empty, the smaller pockets each hold 20 pounds of something.
Okay.
So I'll empty pocket A, fill that with ore. I can put the stuff that's in pocket A in the other two pockets.
Do we want to take any of the adamantium or the mithril? Didn't we see there was mithril down there too?
Yeah.
We chose money as opposed to that stuff. It was totally a smash and grab. So
the Wizard of Oz came out to him and says, "Ignore the mithril behind the curtain. Take what you can and leave.
Get going quick. I know what's coming."
Yeah, there were Nihydrian crystals there, so that could be an argument in your favor, if and when Ilali decides that she's going to, I mean, you don't know what she did when she was gone, but it's possible that you guys are already sussed. Now, nobody has confronted you or anything in the day after. So essentially, the timeline kind of looks like this. So in the late afternoon of the day that you attacked the Red Lands Consortium, you guys won through to the vault, got the money, belted back over to the Worm Empire, checked out the money, counted everything, that kind of stuff, and then just stayed in for the night. You wake up the next morning, and then
Lothar and Ilendar took off that night.
You guys took off that night, okay?
Yeah.
And so they went back, and so the rest of you, waited, woke up late the next day and then spent the afternoon shopping. That evening, Lothar, Ilendar, and Fletcher returned to the Worm Empire, sort of came back, plane shifted back. And so you guys were all back together again. They were able to do what shopping they had too. Some of you are waiting on special orders. That's going to be, the day after tomorrow. So the day after the Red Lands Consortium is where we find ourselves today. And now, so there's one thing that I have to bring up at this point. So a couple of things. You guys missed the Drow barbecue by like a day and a half, and you guys never followed up on the initial RSVP that said, we'll think about it. So you haven't received.
I remember telling them I couldn't commit because I had stuff going on.
Right. You said you couldn't commit.
So they knew I couldn't commit to it.
Okay. Well, you guys missed the Drow barbecue, so that could be, I mean, from a social standing point of view,
Right.
I mean, how many draw barbecues do you get invited to, right? I mean,
It's
it's
fashionably
I
late.
hadn't get invited to any of them when I lived there.
that's true. Well, maybe it would have been your first one. It's also been 3 days since Yardley told you guys, brought you a message from Nazarius that said it was 2 words: she knows. Which you interpreted as that Minago is aware that Nazarius has thrown over his contract to assassinate you guys. So Nazarius is probably laying low, waiting to see what you guys will do to remedy
Good
this
thing we didn't do
situation.
anything of those 3 days.
Well, yeah, you guys were busy, that kind of stuff. It's not like Minago was going to find you at Red Lands and going, there they are, that kind of stuff. So, but yeah, I mean, you went shopping and stuff. So I don't know if she's biding her time or if, I don't know, your DM is waiting to see what you guys do. That could be it. I don't,
Well,
it's,
I mean,
it's a crazy situation.
This, at least from my perspective, this warehouse thing was sort of was supposed to be a one and done, grab the guy and go, and it turned into an epic slog. But I think that was her house was our next plan of attack.
Yes.
Well, so that is an interesting point of view. And at this point, I might throw it over to Jennifer. She might have something to say about that.
Well, while you guys were out playing politics before we got stuck over at the consortium, I got bored and went to scope out this creature, just kind of piqued my interest. And now I'm madly thumbing through this because I didn't think this was going to go down tonight or as quickly as it has.
Well, I have it listed. You want me to just bring it up? Okay.
Just as a recon.
So let me real quick. Let's reprise about Minago. What Minago is. So Minago stands in the hierarchy of demons responsible for the world wounding excursion. Now, this isn't an abyss-wide operation at best. The entire World Wound War and the resulting counter crusades could be considered a pet project of a small cadre of demon lords, particularly Baphomet and Discari. Minago was once characterized as the ruler of a ruined city inside the World Wound called Ralisgrad, and in large part she was a general officer and a special operations expert in Arilu Vorlesh's command. Now, Minago was also responsible for an event called the Red Morning Massacre about 110 years ago, in which she slipped into Canebris in the guise of a refugee and slew 62 people before teleporting away. You guys first made Minago's acquaintance in Canebris when you killed one of her captains, Faxon, was that guy's name, and a cadre of Baphometian cultists. And then you met her again when you foiled her efforts to corrupt the Wardstone network with a chisel made out of Nihydrian crystal, which was manufactured later, you found out, by Xanther Vang and his chief practical alchemist, a guy named Mutasiphan. Minago was punished for that failure, you found out later, and during the siege and eventual capture of Dresden, Minago was out of the picture during that time. She has since moved cautiously toward allegiance toward Hepzimira in order to get back into the good graces of her masters, and figured that the best way to do this was to focus on Nihydrian crystal refinement. So she's been spending her time there. Minago also figured that Baphomet may welcome her back if Discari comes to the point of disavowing her completely. So she's been kissing Hepzimira's ass, essentially. But Hepzimira had the benefit of being in charge of the whole Nihydrian mining operation on behalf of Arilu Vorlesh. And so Hepzimira saw this for what it was, which was transparently reputation management, and she planted her own spy in Vang's fortress, who you guys met briefly, the murderer of Storm and the two rescued prisoners.
We're killing that person.
That was Jerabeth, Princess Jerabeth, basically. But you guys broke the Ivory Labyrinth, just like you broke Dresden, and you drove Xanther Vang to Elutionaria. He's in the city somewhere. In fact, he reached out to Bardos at one point. Yeah, and you and Jerabeth, who knows where she is. She disappeared off your radar when she killed Storm. It's possible that Xanther Vang ran to Minago, or she called him to her, or perhaps not. After all, Vang's a scholar, not a crusader, but he would have passed through the refinery to get to Elutionaria, so he would have at least spoken to Minago before he entered the Abyss, and pretty much would have alerted her to what you guys did at the Ivory Labyrinth. So when you guys attacked, it was about 2 weeks after the fall of the Templar Fortress when you guys attacked the Nihydrian refinery. By then, Vang's operations with the Baphometians would have been fully sorted out. They would have gotten to the bottom of that, and they would have known that it was you guys who did it. But Minago either overlooked the possibility that you guys knew about the refinery's existence, or that you had the guts to attack it. Your attack surprised her and made her angry. And in desperation, she hoped to deceive you by using the Iomedian Yaniel, the Iomedian Paladin's husk, to essentially disguise herself like the Iomedian Paladin Yaniel. When it became clear that you guys were going to defeat the refinery and take it, she escaped through the gate, teleported to Illusionaria, where presumably she plots her revenge, and that leads us up to now. So you think back on what power she has, right? So what do you know about? One, that you know that she can inhabit a husk body and essentially exhibit all the characteristics of that person, which is troubling, but it's likely that that process takes time, and Minago needs to be relatively close proximity to the husk to make that work. After all, you guys found Yaniel's body in her quarters. Since your general plan is to take out Minago in her house, it could be she has another husk there, but it may, and she may not be in her natural state. I'm not sure. I can't remember that any of you have ever seen her in her natural state, which may confuse things. Second thing, she's pretty slippery. She escaped you once with greater invisibility and teleport. As Yaniel, she was able to see Gato invisibly, and she offered to grant you a wish to keep you from destroying the refinery and join with her. That's especially frightening. It could have been a lie, but if it wasn't, that's the kind of magic that can turn an assassination attempt right on its head. What were you saying, Jennifer?
No, it's pretty scary that she has the capacity to do that. Even
She certainly offered it.
I want to put one more thing on record. As I recall, we were sus on the on Yaniel from the moment we met her, and I thought I detected evil on her, and it didn't work.
It did not work. So maybe that has something to do with the powers or prospects of the husk. But it was a pretty significantly powerful disguise.
How about none of us go anywhere alone from this moment forward, and then we we watch Farina closely.
How about we go kill her? Forget the
Safe word.
Drow Battalion thing. Let's go kill her.
Who's been off by herself to?
Well, so since then, when you guys met with Nazarius, who Minago hired, he was a shadow demon, and she hired him to assassinate you guys. And he's a professional assassin, but you guys met with him and basically cut a deal and said, he's like, look, I will not assassinate you or try to assassinate you if you guys go back to her and kill her. I know you want to do this, and she has some magic items that I'm interested in specifically. If you guys kill her, I'll get those magic items, and and you'll never see me again. He also told you where her house is located, and her house isn't a house. It's more of a creature. And we'll get to that in a minute, what Jennifer did. It's actually located pretty close to the causeway. As you can see, I don't know if you can see it over here. You see this little square right there?
Yep.
That's Minago's house. It's a huge creature. It's large and sort of splayed out, so it takes up an entire city block.
We're gonna rent it out as an Airbnb was our plan after we killed Minago, right?
I think, yeah, that was. I know it was discussed. I don't know if anybody went to any further than that. It looks, when you look at it, it looks like a cross between an immense lizard and some sort of gargantuan possum. It's enormous, but it also looks like it's pinned to the ground by what looks like an old tower that had been upended and sort of speared through its side, so that the point of this tower is sort of in the body of the creature, and one presumes into the ground of Illusionera. It breathes, but there isn't any way that you can see that it will get up and walk again. Its mouth is propped open, so you assume that's the way in. There could be an alternative entrance, but the more you think about that option, the less you like it.
Oh, the back entrance.
There does appear to be another entrance, though.
Well, yeah. Well, there's the mouth, and then there's the other entrance.
No,
Well, and then there's the possibility too, this tower that it's speared upon, it's got to be hollow unless the creature somehow filled it with whatever. But there's a possibility we could bust in through the tower and right into the inside of it.
I feel like this is a job for a caravan guard.
Not a pretty
Somebody with shaving gloves.
So Farina went out while you guys were playing politics and did this. So basically, this is what Jennifer emailed me. She said, while the boys are checking their to-do list, Farina's been thinking a great deal about Monago's living home and considering a day trip in stealth mode to get as close to this thing as possible. She's leaving Otto with Lothar. She would like to answer the questions listed below that are rolling around her head. Much time of late has been sipping on lagers in the background while political and tactical games afoot. When in public and cornered by some gregarious small talker, she's taken advantage of these opportunities to inquire about the reality of this beast. So this is what happened to her first. So creatures of the city, I said, are willing to open up to you are few. You are an elvish huntress, powerful, but hardly sort of the person that your average demon or tiefling is going to strike up a conversation with. In many of the neighborhood taverns and inns that you've investigated, you found normally occurring towny antipathy colored with the very real element of evil versus good. You're good in an evil city. Even your efforts to dispel it with amiability, which doesn't come easy to Farina, was often met with sullen hostility. However, this level of avoidance is not universal. I'd mentioned before that at least in your immediate neighborhood, you're all starting to gain a little recognition. The battle with those tax collectors, remember those guys, was very public, even if the return of the protection money was far less so. And at the very least, there's at least some grudging respect for your collective combat prowess. So Farina, being nothing if not stubborn, drops around 20 AGPs and drinks for prospective talkers over the course of several days. Gets nothing until a tiefling, his horns all tangled atop his head, addresses her from a couple of seats down. He says, "You've been asking about the creature in Arbor Gate Green. It's called Io Belwa, but nobody really knows what it is, and it's been there forever," he says. He goes on to say, "I've seen it several times as my work occasionally takes me down into the green and across hard-by gates into the palace, and I've not been close to it, though. It is dangerous, and its inhabitants are said to be even worse." He describes the creature like this. He says it is very large, reminiscent of our sky whales in size and general shape, but definitely not a whale or any sort of marine animal. The outer skin is mottled in gray-yellow, and the skin is puckered all over like the flesh of a pheasant. It emanates a strange, moisture-rich heat, and the weeds and brambles that grow up around it are twisted and hale. It is pierced by the toppled Spargewater Tower, pierced by the minaret and pinned to the ground itself. This was done purposefully, I believe, but by what or whom, I don't know. Spargewater has been abandoned as long as I've ever lived here. There are no windows, and one supposedly enters by way of the mouth, which is propped open and full of teeth, as well as lit by magic. No smoke or vapor rises from the creature, but it does quiver occasionally and will emit a very low moan sometimes that can continue for hours before it stops. That moan has a deleterious effect on nearby creatures, and even the weirmen, like Yardley, will studiously avoid shitting on it when it moans, and they shit on everything. Tiefling rattled his ice in his glass, and the bartender refilled it. This one's on the Lady Elf, he says. The only other thing I've heard about Io Belwa is about the tick. And Farina's like, "Oh, really?" And he says, supposedly, that was the name of one of its previous residents and is said to still live there, although not alone. It's said to be an immense tick that feeds off the creature's blood continuously and has subsequently grown so bloated on it that it can't leave or even move, or so they say. That's all the guy knew. He said, "Thanks for the drink. Stay away from Io Belwa is my best advice." So Farina then took that information, went down, called Cabby one morning and went down there. Basically went there. So she did first a perception check and a knowledge nature to try and identify it as an animal, magical beast, or construct. And I said, of the three, it's definitely not a construct, and it's no sort of animal you've ever seen before. It does look a little reminiscent of an enormous dead beached whale, but the skin does look like the skin of some sort of bird. It's yellowish, and there's a lot of pucker marks all over it, like where feathers would have been pulled out of it. Each of these pucker marks is about the size of a dinner plate, and it covers all of the exposed skin that you can see. The tower is not just toppled over onto it. It's literally turned upside down and speared into it. Like somebody broke it off, turned it point down, and stabbed it at an angle of the creature. Somebody who would have done that would have had to have been enormous. The creature itself is enormous. The tower is probably 4 or 5 stories tall in itself. And somebody broke it off, picked it up, and stabbed it into this creature. The flesh around the tower spike where it's stuck into it is sort of like rimmed in red and bears what you as an herbalist would consider to be some very bad signs of infection. A lot of blackened necrotic tissue, red lines that look like blood poisoning sort of emanating out from it. It oozes a sort of pus, and there is an absolutely ghastly smell that fills the entire block. Your best, Farina's best guess, considering its size, its shape, and that it does seem to be breathing, is that it is a magical beast of some sort, and it is enormous. It's about 200 feet across and about 600 feet long. 2 football fields, tip to tail.
That's a big house.
So second, Farina decided to use her wild empathy to try and improve the creature's attitude and find out if it is conscious and to try and gain its trust in a curious, non-threatening way. So Farina, I said, you move very stealthily within 30 feet of this creature and reach out to it with your sentences, and you are immediately almost doubled up in pain. You have to psychically and physically withdraw from it quickly to keep from falling to the ground. It takes you a second to even catch your breath, and you now cautiously reach out again with all the psychic dampening that you can muster, and it's tolerable, barely, but you can focus and investigate the creature's sensorium. You are shocked by how much physical pain this creature is in. It's excruciating and constant. It's almost a relief to you, to Farina, when she realized that as far as she could tell, the creature is almost entirely mindless. You can't tell if it was once intelligent and its mind was broken or removed, or if the constant agony that it feels has been rendered it unable to hold anything reminiscent of a conscious thought. But for whatever the reason, it is not a thinking creature in the sense that most other animals would be. And for that reason, it is not communicative to Farina. And as far as Farina could tell, it doesn't even notice that she was there. It's sort of a good news, bad news situation. Farina didn't think that she could positively affect the creature due to the high volume of pain it's experiencing and its apparent lack of anything resembling conscious thought. On the other hand, she was pretty confident that whatever else you guys might encounter, the creature itself would not necessarily be able to act against you guys in a strategic manner. Autonomous responses inside might still occur, but she did not believe that there could be any conscious control of anything. This is not a creature that can do anything with any sort of thought or intelligence. Basically, it's alive. It's a magical beast as far as Farina could tell, and is in immense pain. As far as she could tell, it can't move. And it does seem to have a complete lack of appendages, although they could be hidden underneath somehow. But you couldn't see any evidence of them on the outside. It's just enormous, and it has a tower spiked into it. Other questions. Does it appear to be guarded? So the question to that is, other than a fair amount of traffic on the hard-by gates, and so if you look at the thing, hard-by gates are right here, and they are essentially, that's the name of the path that goes to Nocticula's Palace Island over here. Arbor Gate Green is the neighborhood out front of those gates. So there does not seem to be any creatures specifically associated with Minago's house. No door guards, no one wandering around, no traffic in or out. Farina took some time to watch for about several hours from stealth, and she didn't see anyone going in or out of the creature. Based on Farina's empathy check, she doesn't believe that the creature is either conscious or aware of its surroundings. It doesn't seem to have any periods of sleep or wakefulness. It does seem to have periods of increased activity, however, in which it quivers and subsonic groans that you sort of feel rather than hear. And there is a period where it does engage in sort of like a low moaning sound that the tiefling in the bar described. It's not moaning in the sense of a ghost. It's more of like a low rumbling, and you're initially reminded of the weird purring that Otto does when Fletcher gives him a scritch behind the ears. But it's not purring. That you rapidly discard this idea. The sound the creature makes creates a weird sort of reverberation that after a few minutes made Farina's stomach queasy, and she started to get nervous and twitchy. And the sound only goes on for about an hour though, and the effect ends pretty quickly afterward. So like infrasound, it created a sense of nervousness and unease in you.
Actually have nausea last time. Never clarified that with you.
You never threw up or anything. It was just queasiness. It was just because of the noise, the rumbling sound. It seemed to have.
Is it debilitating though? Is it like the nauseous conditions leave you debilitated? Okay.
No, you weren't debilitated.
Okay.
during the time Farina observed it, it didn't take anything in resembling food or drink. It does not, thankfully, appear to expel anything like waste either, except for the vapor coming off the infected area surrounding where the tower spike goes in. It does have something that looks suspiciously like an anus at the eastern end. It's somewhat hidden by thorny plants that grow around the soil in that area, and covered, the whole region of the body is covered with some sort of brown mold, but it does look like it might be an anus. It doesn't have any gills. As far as you could tell, the only potential way into the creature are the mouth, the anus, or the tower spike. You think the tower spike might potentially be an entrance. It's buried very deeply in the creature, and while you don't know what's going on inside that tower, you know that the tower itself is probably hollow. So the analogy that you're thinking of is it could be like a syringe. You get inside there and you sort of inject yourself into the creature. The problem is the vapors that are emanating from that area. When you first smelled them, you vomited, and you did not approach very closely after that. Going into that area could be very bad for either breathing or barfing. The question was, is it kept here and alive by Minago against its will? And can I sense any expression of unhappiness or desire to be free? And I said, it's definitely in an egregious amount of physical and probably psychic pain, but you do not get any desire or yearning. It's certainly nothing about Minago specifically. As far as you can tell, it's mindless and in agony. And then the other question was, could it possibly be freed or move if it's healed? And to that answer, you're just like, Farina, you just don't know. It's enormous. It's massively hurt, possibly hurt in ways that you haven't even considered yet, and possibly in ways that you're not even competent to gauge.
You said it's been there a long while too, didn't you?
It's been here as far as that guy lived in Illusionaria. Now, he didn't say how long he lived there, but he's a tiefling resident of Illusionaria, so one can assume a little while anyway. You doubt very much a simple heal spell is going to fix whatever is wrong with this creature. Even if we assume that it's on top of the soil, what you can see represents about 6 million cubic feet of creature. If we further and generously assume that half of its interior is a void, essentially, the creature would weigh approximately 150 million pounds or 75,000 tons. If it ever comes to the point where it moves, it will be dramatic. Farina asked if there were eyes. No eyes and no real ascertainable sentience or sensory organs. And then the last question that she asked was, after close examination on the ground, if I was able to safely complete it, I will then observe the entrance for several hours as detailed above. Before leaving, I will use the Terendalib's silver scale in some dark corner to gain access in full stealth to the roof that might allow me to look down on the back of the creature for additional information. And though my final answer there was the upper part varies from about 40 to 60 feet high off the ground. It's lumpy and pocked with a lot of those same pucker marks. The top is irregular, but there are no internal structures that you could clearly see, nor are there any obvious entries from the top. The smell of it up here is absolutely putrefying. But after you vomited a bit over the side of your scale, you could stand it after a time. And that is what Farina learned about Minago's house. Questions for Farina?
Did you kill her while you were there?
Yeah, I wasn't going to tell you though. I thought it was a surprise.
Well, she never saw anybody. She stayed there for several hours, sort of watching the building, and never saw anybody go in or out.
It's massive though. I mean, it's been there so long. It's possible there's tunnels underneath it. Who knows? There's not a lot of activity though. I couldn't figure hide nor hair what was going on with the moaning and the shivering. Like there was no other bodily functions occurring at that time or sounds or anything. But it was rather rhythmic. There is a rhythm to it, but I couldn't figure it out. Didn't have enough information.
If you were captured and turned into a husk, could you tell us?
Yeah, I'd tell you for sure. Well, I'd tell you. I wouldn't tell the rest of the group.
Yeah. Appreciate it. I'll cut a separate deal then.
So that's where that is. So that's a lot of information, which may or may not be helpful. I don't know. It's possible.
I mean, my dollar is on entering through the tower. I think that's our best option to at least go in a fairly stealthy manner. As far as handling the nauseating gases, that's going to be a trick if we can come up with a way to handle that. I mean, I've got some wind spells, a wind spell, but I don't know how well it's going to work. If we put a whirling dervish over the top, it'll act as a draw and draw it all out, or it'll just draw what's worse inside out. Who knows? I don't know.
Other thing we're going to need is we're going to need some magical means to be able to lock Monagos in place so she can't teleport.
Like an astral anchor sort of thing.
Dimensional anchor or something like that.
Some sort of
And
hammer.
I've always got
Or some sort of
two-dimensional.
hammer.
I've got dimensional anchor set up as a known
We'll
spell.
have to have that memorized, and that hammer needs to be used on her quickly as well.
You hear that, Fletcher? It's hammer time.
The hammer does that automatically, doesn't it? Because that's the dimensional anchor. It's got a save and
Right.
spell resistance and stuff. The hammer is
The
probably
hammer
going to be a
doesn't
better choice.
dimensionally
The
anchor.
hammer is a strength check to get out of.
So she
But she
can't
can
teleport
teleport
unless she has
away.
a strength check.
And
Dimensional
yeah, it's,
anchor.
it's some
dimension-
ungodly strength check. I think Storm has a decent chance of breaking it, but there's no other
yeah,
realistic.
dimensional anchor has spell resistance, but it does not have a save.
Does it?
And as a new 6th level spell, Lothar has a spell called Chains of Light,
Uh-huh.
which has a save but no spell resistance as well.
And what does that do?
The opposite. Chains of Light, target is held immobile. Can't
Okay.
teleport, can't dimension door, can't do anything. It's
Okay.
let me pull up the, let's see here.
Monago taking human form and lurking on our video call here. Hello, Tom.
Welcome, Managa.
The creature is paralyzed, held in place. When held by the golden chains, it cannot use any sort of extra dimensional travel. Astral projection, blink, dimension door, ethereal jaunt, etherealness, gate, maze, plane shift, shadow walk, teleport, and similar spells and spell-like abilities.
So yeah,
So-
that's a good one.
It's a lockdown spell, but it has a saving throw, but no spell resistance. Dimensional
So-
anchor is the opposite. There's no
Right.
saving throw, but it has spell resistance. So it's
We just need to have multiple things because we can't count on any one of these working with just a one shot.
right. And that, so Lothar has both of those memorized.
Okay.
And Bardos also has dimensional anchor. So we've got, well, that and the hammer. So we've got a handful of options to try and lock somebody down from being able to leave.
Okay.
Here's the tricky bit though. It's her house. Nobody else is going to know the ins and outs of her house, especially if it's a complicated internal organism.
Right.
Yeah, I don't see a way around that though. We just
Oh, and-
we still
and-
got to go in.
Yeah.
We
But-
can wait for the guided tour, but they probably won't have those out on.
We can go to Demon City Hall and look for the blueprints.
You just bang on the front, on the tooth up out front, and be like, "We're here to view the tapestries."
Yeah. Is there an Alishanerian Zillow? Can we do a walkthrough?
Okay.
The virtual tour.
There's a little box out front on a tooth, with the key. Hold on, I just gotta get the key.
Just a little virtual walkthrough in case we're interested in purchasing the place as a summer home.
No, we're purchasing a whale.
Yeah.
That's the only thing we're serious
I
about.
thought we were going to steal a whale.
Eventually.
As long as Illandar is like a passenger on that whale coming back home, I don't care. I don't care how we do it.
Are you guys gonna hijack a whale?
Flashheart didn't know what he was fighting for.
To be honestly, Illandar has a massive heart on for stealing a whale.
After an endless war, slog through war here, Flashheart thought he forgot what he was fighting for until he heard there were sky whales. And then suddenly he was reinvigorated.
Fighting for.
I need me a sky whale.
I can tell you that it doesn't matter how many magic items we accumulate, how much money we get, or how many demons we kill. If we go home without a sky whale, half of this party is going to be severely disappointed.
Yeah, we have faith.
Disappointment. Yep.
And we want
Disappointed.
we want armored barding on our sky whale too.
so we want a sky submarine. Is
Yeah.
what you're after.
We can use Baru, can't we, to do some recon? I would think a rat would be
Maybe, yeah.
common in there.
A rat's
Um,
common to
Yeah, I
this
don't know.
area?
I don't know about
What's that,
Demon
Mike?
I
World.
would think a rat's a prime thing, not an abyss little road.
Siggy could try to do aerial recon, but again, it's kind of the same thing.
I
What
thought
about
that's
what are
what
elementals?
roaches, they're everywhere, every world, every plane.
Yeah, there's celestial rats and demon rats too. I mean, there's rats everywhere, I think.
Dire rat.
Or demonic.
That is a disappointing summon monster one, right? What did I get? A friggin' rat! Get over there and fight those goblins.
Can we make him look more demonic somehow so he fits in?
Move some horns on.
Yeah, some tusks.
Give him a
Pure blood
mohawk.
on him.
Paint some little red things under his eyes.
Yeah, he's got an incredibly high stealth, so he's pretty good at hiding. But we can also make Gato invisible, and he's got a heck of a lot more tools in his tool belt. But I don't know. I know
Well,
she can
also,
see invisible.
The place you're
Gato-
talking about is a fairly lengthy jaunt across the city. It's about is it 4 miles away? Hold on a sec.
It was a cab ride for me.
Yeah, she called Cape. So about 5 miles away, actually. 4.8. So yeah, it's about 5 miles across the city.
Don't leave at rush hour.
Yeah.
Yes, you had to call Demon Cabby. Farina did.
I've decided that's an Uber.
A Demon Uber.
And you don't have to be redundant. It's just an Uber.
Where to, guys?
Hey, Les,
right.
you said it would be like 2 days for some of the stuff we ordered. At this point, this is 2 days still, or
Still got. It's going to be like the day after tomorrow. So a couple of things. So first, before real quick, just everybody give me a quick perception check.
Apparently someone said dragon.
I'm sorry, what?
Nothing.
I can't switch fast enough.
You have to get like an assistant just to press the button.
Yeah,
There you
you
go.
get a third monitor, and that button needs to be the only thing on that.
Well,
on the
it's in the
third monitor.
jukebox. I have to switch the whole thing. So, all right. Okay. Thanks. Let me. I'm gonna send each of you that made it a quick message.
If the rest of you suck it. Telling you, Don, I'm thinking this armadillo hat could be your look on the real world too. Just going out in the world with that. It's already got a mask built right into it for COVID. People will not cross the street to talk to you.
Okay. About that time, you hear a noise.
We attack.
Wait, did I not make it with a 26?
Is Yeardley smacking against the window again?
That's not the noise.
No,
Stupid
okay.
thing.
As a free action, I'm just going to say, Fletch, we missed you. How you feeling?
I want to kill something. I want to kill something now.
Oh, boy.
How fortuitous. There was a noise.
You're a little high.
Can you guys hear the noise?
Yep.
Yeah.
Tables ringing.
Oh, is that somebody's cell phone?
That's the little calling cards. It's the house phone.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay.
I'll go pick it up.
You pick it up.
Yep.
Hello, room 7. I just want to let this is a front desk. There are some people here demanding to speak with you, and they are demanding that you all come down immediately. I would recommend you do so.
Do you normally take demands at this hotel? I thought this was sort of like a.
Well, they
No,
can't.
no. Certain times you do.
They can't come in. But they
Hmm.
are. But well, let me just say that they're representatives of Sephira, and they have stated in no uncertain terms that you are to come down and accompany them. That Sephira wants to see.
Remind me who Sephira is.
That's the chick we're trying to see.
The boss.
No.
The,
Well, no, wait. So
We're trying to see
she's
We're trying to see Nocticula.
Particular.
Yeah, that's the
Sephira.
witch,
No, that's Ilali. So Sephira is, well, she runs a place called what it's called here, the Ardent Dreams, which is one of the biggest entertainment venues in the Lucianera. She's also considered widely to be Nocticula's sort of right hand right-hand
Got it.
girl.
Well, then I'm gonna look at everybody else. I said we'd be delighted. Let them know we'll be right down. Everybody buff up.
Yeah, so this is either the person we need to talk to see Nocticula, or the
This
person we
is-
need to talk to set up that Gatto versus the champion match.
Why don't we bring one of our mass or our crystals, our hydrogen crystals?
Yeah, we're bringing those.
I'm bringing a hammer.
I'm bringing
Jennifer, Jennifer, you're shaking your head.
Oh, I'm just trying to whisper to somebody and I can't get /W to work. So I was just, I was answering Gordon. Isn't it just /W?
Just mute and then yell through the
Slash
house.
W, but you
Yeah.
also have to.
Mute and yell through the house.
Then you have to enter the
That's
name, Jennifer. So start
I did.
typing one of the
I did.
names.
If there's an Alexa in his room, you can just ask to drop it in that
Who
room.
you trying to type to? Like, because Les, you'd have to start typing W for world.
No, I know that. No name is coming up.
But you have to start.
W. Maybe I've got the wrong backslash. There's only one.
No, you have to start typing something.
Yeah, Bardo. So say /W.
It's not backslash, it's /W.
That must be the problem. I'm backslashing when I need to be forward slashing.
That's what it is.
What the
So
hell?
what, the thing under the question mark?
That's what I was using.
It shares the key with a question mark. And then as soon as you put in a letter, a drop down should show all the player
There
characters.
it is. I capitalized the W. I think that threw me. Huh. How about that? Sorry. There it is.
Okay. So
Who's
you
the
guys,
lucky recipient?
so Flashheart, you tell the front desk that you guys are going to be right down, huh?
We'll be delighted to speak to them in the lobby first, or or somewhere before we head off to a second location.
Well,
But-
they can't enter.
Right. I'm gonna call Yardley over here too to be our make sure maybe he can get a little recon on these people
Hope they brought
outside
a
the
lot of
hotel. I want to get a little recon before we go outside. Is Yardley available?
He's not there right now. You'd have to I mean, he doesn't have a calling card. He just
Okay.
sort of shows up occasionally, usually
Yeah,
in the
he
afternoon.
shows up even when we don't want him. So
Yeah.
Yeah, you got and Flashheart keeps letting him in, and he keeps shitting behind the couch and stealing everything off of last night's late supper. I mean, that's really the two things that Yardley loves to do: is steal
Right.
whatever's left over from supper and shit behind the couch.
There's two things I want from a Lucianaire. I want a sky whale and I want a Yardley on my shoulder at all times.
On your shoulder,
Yeah.
you realize what it's going to do to your cloak.
Well, I'm gonna have to get some sort of magical cleaning solvent or something.
I don't know that wireman shit comes off all that easy. It makes the people crazy. But okay, so
All right, fine.
does anybody do anything specific before you guys go down to see what's what?
plane shift back to the prime material plane.
Fuck this. Crusade can go on its own. I'm sick of it.
What do we? Okay,
Let's go.
I spoke on behalf of the party maybe too hastily, but I figured we're gonna have to
Yeah,
do
this
this
is what
sooner
we
or later.
want.
This is what we
The
want.
whole point of what we're doing is to get in front of her, and it looks like we might have just done that. So, yeah, this is
I'm going to give guidance to who's going to be our mouthpiece.
Gotta be Gatto.
Who's gonna be Grima
I've got a
Wormtongue?
20 diplomacy. Does anybody beat that?
Okay,
What-
so I'm going to give Illendar guidance to give you one more +1 on diplomacy and whatnot.
I got the charisma. You got the diplomacy.
Anybody else want one? Flashheart, do you want one too?
I'll take
Sure.
one.
On diplomacy.
Well, it's a +1 to whatever.
Yeah, please.
Well, wait. How long does that last? Because it might be kind of a haul.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe we hold on to that.
Oh, it lasts around, I think.
Yeah,
All right, maybe. Yeah, let's wait. Thank you.
Well, I mean, if it's something that you're going to diplomacy with whoever's come to fetch you. Well, yeah. I mean, basically, the front desk said that they are outside, and
Dog
they're
the bounty
waiting
hunters
for
out
you.
there?
And they basically made they said like Sephira has sent us to come collect you. She wants to see you now.
Right.
1 minute. So that's 1 minute. I'll just walk.
So when we're in the lobby walking out, then you can hit me with it.
Yeah, I'll just walk behind you guys. I'll tell them what I'm doing. So you guys stay together and I can just touch both your shoulders.
Okay.
So it's late afternoon, edging towards evening, and the local nightlife is starting to pile up. As you guys get down into the lobby, and obviously,
One second. Is there any of those potions we got from the potion maker that might be super useful at this time? Are we carrying those in a haversack, or are those in our hotel room?
I don't know about other potions, but all the potions of restoration that you guys had are completely gone. Nobody knows where they are.
I'm not worried about the restoration potions. I'm talking about we got some other funky potions, like some whack job potions. Are those with us?
It's up to you.
Well, I'm asking the haversack guys.
I've got some healing potions that I've had for a while, but I don't know what you
Do
mean by
nobody
wacky.
remember?
Well, he's talking about all the wackadoo potions that guy
Yeah.
gave us.
That you
for
got from
free.
Melkor, yeah.
Yeah. They're not like
I don't-
normal potions. They're
Yeah.
weird crap that
There's like head of fire chicken, or like
Yeah.
bring mattress to life kind of things.
Did you guys ever write that down?
I thought
Yeah,
Mike
I got
did.
him. Blue
Oh.
potion of lunar prophecy. Ask a question to get guidance. Clear potion of insomnia, poison. Pink potion of unrequited love. Green liquid. Speak with plants. Color of stone. Pour on top of stone. That's
Yeah, none of that sounds immensely helpful.
I've
at
got the
moment.
3
Yeah,
potions.
okay.
I didn't write down anybody chose them, so unless someone wants to carry them, I probably have them in my potion bag or whatever.
No, there's no potion of
that
charm
applies
lackey.
Did that
lunar
list-
prophecy one.
Did that list go out to everybody?
Oh, this was a
Yeah.
long time ago.
Yeah,
It's a while back.
it did, but most of them were,
We're very odd.
yeah, and helpful / harmful at the same time.
Yeah.
Several of them would cause you issues with alignment, which is why Lothar and Flashheart have forgotten they exist.
Right.
One of them makes a heart leap out of a body.
Yeah, I thought that was awesome. I would say, unless there's a potion of charm lackey, I think we just give that up for now and head on
Well, so-
downstairs.
So when you guys get downstairs, and it takes a few minutes, but when you get down there and you look through the windows of the the front windows of the hotel, you realize that immediately that you may have underestimated the trouble you're in, because standing outside are 11 of these.
Armadillos? Oh, wait.
Oh, good, they brought enough.
So,
got spared.
Farina, you would recognize these creatures as of similar ilk to the creature that you saw at the dock outside of the warehouse at Red Lands Consortium. Remember that guy who was trucking off with a crate?
Yep.
So you recognize these as Carano demons, and you'll remember that so ostensibly the Carano demons have a deal with Nocticula and they essentially handle all of the water transport, commercial or otherwise, through the city. You can actually get a Carano demon cab across the Royal Gin Way to go across. Now, frankly, those cabs generally don't get hired a lot. Because of the implication, but they also do move a shitload of cargo around. All of them typically have boats, but they have some sort of now by definition they're daemons, daemons, which means they would come from a different plane. They're not creatures of the abyss, but somehow they have a deal with Nocticula. So there's a fair amount of them around. So you've seen a lot of these things before. The last one you saw, Farina saw outside of the thing, and did you have a chance to converse with that guy? Didn't he say, like, he wasn't?
Yeah.
You were like, "Don't even do this, I'll kill you," and he
She
sort of
did a
like,
little bit, yep.
and he sort of giggled and said, "Hey, I'm just watching the show," kind of thing. But they certainly, you're getting to the idea that the Carano demons essentially help to, they serve in many ways as Nocticula's enforcers. And there have been instances, so you've been in Illusionary almost 2 weeks, and you've seen instances where just out of the blue, a trio of Carano demons will just like grab somebody off the street, pile them onto a boat, and they just disappear off into a canal or something like that. So
and everyone looks the other way.
and everybody sort of looks the other way. So while they may ostensibly be in charge of like carting things along the waterways of Illusionera, they also kind of serve as maybe Nocticula's secret police.
Like hired hands,
only
hired phones.
Yeah, only not so secret. I mean, everybody's sort of like, when you see one of these guys wandering around off the water, people scatter because they don't want to, whatever shit's about to go down, they don't want to be there. There are 11 of them.
When you rip off the mafia's vault, you're probably going to see some heavies show up at your doorstep. Makes sense.
Hey, I'm honored.
So you guys are sort of standing at the door, and you see these creatures, and they're in like a wedge formation, and you see the one in front sort of step forward, and he says, "Primes, come with us now."
Where are we going?
Ardent dreams. Sephira requires your presence.
Okay, let's go.
I'm sorry, do you bring a palanquin for us or like a carriage?
Well, no, what
or-
they do is like, so they're sort of in like a triangle. There's one in the front and then 4 along the eggs and then 4 back. So it's like a triangle with a point on it. So at that point, and the guy in front is the one who's talking. At that point, like either side of the triangle, sort of like a, and it opens up an area in the middle, and it essentially they expect you guys to come outside and get in the middle of them.
I get in the middle.
Okay, so you walk out and you just like walk past these guys. These
Yep.
guys are like 11 feet tall too, and they have those big sights and all the skulls and bones. They're just like really freaky looking.
They are not here to kill me unless I disobey.
If they were here to, well, put it this way: if they were here to kill you, they wouldn't be knocking on the door at front desk asking you, please come down.
Right.
Right. Nope. So we jump
If
in
you
there.
guys take,
Yeah, well,
take that one, I'll take the other 10.
Yeah.
yeah.
I'm in the triangle.
Yeah.
I will also join you. And
I'm not gonna fight.
my shiny new cloak on has a gentle billow to it behind me to look extra dramatic and handsome.
Bartow's
you pay
gonna
extra
use
for the
his
gentle
sleeve of
billow?
many garments. He's gonna
Yeah,
go
I'm
all
gonna pay.
black
You're
for
right.
us.
I'm gonna get that like a cantrip constantly blowing, the gentle billow cantrip.
What are you doing with your sleeve, Bartos?
I'm gonna go, I have a sleeve of many garments, which basically means you can put whatever kind of clothing you want on yourself, and I'm gonna go all black. I'm gonna just be a little goth android for the night.
Nice.
Goth android.
Cross Android. Listen to like The Cure right now, and just like smoking a closed cigarette.
You hear the armadillo say, "Hi guys, how's it going?" He
Otto
looks
and
up.
I'll follow.
He's like, "That's a great scythe. Did you get that like when you start as a Carano demon, or is that something you make?" And they just look down at him. They're like, "Shut up, armadillo."
Ned, it's okay.
Yeah.
All right. So once we're all in the middle, what do they do?
Once you're out in the middle, then they begin moving, and it's sort of the isosceles ends of the triangle close, and then they just start walking the sort of thing. So I've you see this this
I walk where I'm
blue
in the
box over here.
What little box?
Which one?
Oh, shit! I'm on the. Never mind. It happens to be I'm on the wrong thing again. So
GM
there you go.
screen. Yep, I see it.
All right, so that blue box is a place called the Ardent Dreams, or usually just called Ardent Dreams or the Ardent. It is essentially an enormous club on the Terrace of Favored Mistress. So you'll remember that the Terrace of Favored Mistress is the like
That's the red area.
wealthy area of the island. And so this club caters to a very wealthy clientele. So it also is, as you well know, it is Sephira's club. This is her business. But she also is sort of like Nocticula's confidant, her second in command of the city, or at least maybe not command of the city, but she certainly has a great deal of influence that Nocticula allows her. And in large part, and it's pretty well known that Sephira and Nocticula are sort of as close to friends as demon lords can probably get. The relationship between Nocticula and Sephira probably emanates that. You can say, like, if as demons go, they're friends.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Are they playing any sort of make way for Prince Ali type of soundtrack for us?
Well, you guys are sort of like bump, bump, bump going through the city and walking down Saltpeter and heading for Brock Marsh. And it's like, well, frankly, you've got an 11 Carano demon wedge moving through any traffic.
So they move out of the way.
Yeah, they get out of the way. And you're just like, and this is a really crowded city, but absolutely nobody wants to get in these guys' way because whatever and you have people are staring, right? And they're looking at you guys and they're like, those, you get the looks on their faces are like, holy shit, what did those guys do? Or, oh, those poor bastards, that kind of thing, like sympathy. So it's a bit of a haul. I mean,
to up our notoriety, I'm going to cross off 100 gold pieces, and I'm gonna start throwing them to the crowd, like at the parade.
Prince Ali, jolly is he.
I think we should like giggle, like we have inside jokes and laugh and carry
Yeah.
on and maybe drink out of our flasks. Like, I think that'll attract more attention.
Yeah, we want to max out their notoriety.
All right, so you guys are like, hey everybody, we're going down to see Sephira. Oh,
Yeah.
y'all can suck it.
You're like, where'd you guys get all these Mardi Gras beads from?
Show us your boobs.
Like,
So-
no, put them back. There's too many of
No,
them. No,
put
put
'em
them back.
No, I thought you only had 2.
All 8 of them.
Cat demon, ew. All right, so yeah, it's kind of a haul, and it takes you several minutes. I mean, you guys are moving at a brisk pace. It's a couple of miles, but you guys walk there. These guys don't slow down. I mean, they're moving at a pretty decent pace, but it's certainly a pace that you can accommodate. And finally, you get out in front of the Ardent Dreams, and this is an enormous castle-like club, and there are already people, like there's a line out the door, and bouncers are letting people in, and big banners, and the sign above says, well, it says something you don't really understand. This who reads Abyssal?
I do.
I do.
Carlos does.
All right, for those of you who read Abyssal, it says tonight, 8 p.m. Scab Mettler battles, and you're just like, well, those are 3 words that I never don't understand what that means. But that's what it said. And there's people like climbing around, and there's like
Say that
cart
one more
guys.
time, Les?
Scab Mettler battles.
Scab Mettler battle. Okay. I think they misspelled my name.
So you guys are taken past the lines to get in the front area and to what is ostensibly a not a stage door, but like a delivery door. You guys, they take you in the back. You guys go through this place. There's kitchens. There's people going everywhere, but everybody's like pausing out of the way as they get out of the way. But it's not like when you guys are going through the city where everybody's like afraid. Everybody's getting out of the way of these guys because it's like they don't want to get trampled. But it seems like very business-like. The bus boys and the chefs and that kind of stuff are all just like, all right, go ahead. That kind of thing. Just getting out of the way. You go up a couple of flights of stairs, you take it, and you're brought into an enormous room. And there are people going in and out of it. The room is probably 100 feet wide by 50 feet deep, and it's dominated in the middle by this pool of what could only be, to your eyes, bubbling lava. Hovering above the pool in a lotus position, sort of like with legs crossed, and with a big sword across her knee, is this creature right here.
I'm not seeing anything.
I haven't said it yet.
There we go.
Holy shnikes.
You ain't got a face.
This is the kind of demon that Pinhead would have nightmares
Ooh, that's a
about.
pretty sword, though.
Well, that sword is laying across her lap.
And it's hers.
Well, and she's essentially floating above the lava, and you could see fumes coming off the lava, and you could smell them, the sulfur and that kind of stuff here.
You feeling a little underdressed there, Goth Android?
As you guys are brought in, you see that there are people going back and forth to her and coming up to her. The pool of lava is not very big. She herself is probably, 12 to 14 feet tall. So she's big. The pool is probably 8 feet around. So it's just really just directly under her. So you can see people, and there's like succubuses dressed up like in business clothes, and incubuses in business clothes that are bringing papers and documents and things like they bring up to her. And she's sort of just sitting there with this sword on her lap, and she's got these things, and she's just sort of like signing documents. It's people, she'll lean over as people like whisper at her, and she'll nod once or shake her head, and she sees the you guys and the Carano demons, and then you see her sort of like there's people like crowded around her, and she just sort of goes like this with her hand, and all those people are like, whoop, time to go, and they all scatter.
Do they make that noises?
Well, they don't make any noise, but they stop talking immediately and blow. She says, she just comes, she looks at the Carano demon, and she's like, and just like, come here. And the Carano demons again do that thing where like they march over to her, and you get within about 20 feet. And again, the Carano demons sort of get out of the way into things and allow you guys to step forward. And the lead one turns around and says, "Step forward and bow to the Lady Sephira."
Yeah, that ain't happening.
I'm not
I
sure
do
that
it.
was.
I step forward and bow.
Let me ask you, Les. Like, would a pound feel like he couldn't bow?
Are you checking your talisman?
Yeah, I'm checking my talisman.
Bowing to Sephira would be considered a courtesy. It's not. It's
It
not
is
an
a
alignment check.
lawful-
It's more like a
All right.
champ, something like that.
And then I will be courtesy here. We want a little goodwill.
Yeah,
for
you're
whatever
not
you get from
wearing
evil
fealty
demons.
to her, so.
Yeah, so I will bow them.
Really? Whatever.
Come on, Dan.
Well, so some people bow and some don't. Okay, and you she looks at you, and you hear this voice sort of coming out of the central empty area inside her face.
The demonic butterface.
Yeah, the demonic butterface, and you could hear her say, "Well, it seems that your boldness exceeds your intelligence again."
Yeah. That's true.
Wait, what's this again part?
Paladin, are you not aware of what you have done? Bardos, give me a quick knowledge arcana. $38, is that all? Jeez Louise. All right, 38. You can get a fair, moderate amount of information for a 38 knowledge arcana.
Actually, Les, that includes the new headband of intelligence, so it should be four less than that.
4 less. All right, so 34. Still a medium roll. 34. That's pretty good. So you know that
I'm happy to answer whenever you're ready.
You see that thing around her head?
Yep.
That like web looking thing?
Yep.
That's not part of her. You recognize that it's not part of her body. It is instead part of her clothing. And from your point of view and your android sensibilities, you suspect that that thing is operating magically as some sort of almost like a parabolic dish. You think somebody's watching through that. That's what that thing is for. That is what your 34 tells you. That thing around her head is for watching.
That was one of those,
she's got a satellite dish on her head.
That was one of those dream catchers I had in college. Yeah.
No, look at her face. The dreams just go right through.
Yeah. I'm ready to respond whenever you.
We decided Illendar was going to be doing the talking. Is that what we said?
Oh, right. Okay. Then Illendar.
So she asks you, she goes, I have a question. What prompted you to violate this city's only law in such an extravagant and egregious manner, in a manner through which no possible excuse could be given, no possible remediation could be posited? What caused you to do this thing? And I'm curious to hear the answer before I pass the sentence upon you for this crime.
With guidance too, Les, at this point.
Okay.
You got a minute with one extra.
Right. Do you want the roll and then my explanation?
Sure.
Bardos is going to lean over to Illendar and whisper that I think Nocticula is listening. That cone over her head, I think, is some
So I shouldn't start off by, well, that stupid idiot in the Nocticula.
Okay, I'm going to refrain from that.
Don't start with that. Yeah.
So
no, we fully.
Yeah, I was gonna say you're gonna open with that, or
that's a backup plan, Les.
So
okay.
It's a 30 diplomacy.
Okay.
So basically, Illendar is going to explain that we had a disagreement with that company, and we had suspicions that they were involved in some activities that go directly against one of Nocticula's decisions. And while we were there, we uncovered evidence and proved that that they were indeed involved in something that we know Nocticula has, I guess, been against or put
expressly forbidden.
Forbidden.
Yeah, forbidden.
Is that so? So you were engaging on this reckless and stupid course of action on my lady Nocticula's behalf.
Yes.
What was the nature of your disagreement with the Red Lands Consortium, or was it with their CEO, the lady Ilali?
They had something that belonged to us.
Really, that seems remote. What sort of something, if you don't mind me asking?
A comrade.
A comrade. In what sense was a comrade? I mean, was this the property of the Red Lands Consortium?
They thought it was.
Was it not purchased appropriately? Were there some sort of disagreement on price?
Sure. At this stage,
Can't you just
Villandar's
fall back on you're on a mission from
try
God?
and bring the conversation back to the slight against Nocticula.
Well, she sort of waves that off. We'll get to that in a moment.
Okay.
Why are you here in Illusionera? Let me prepare your answer in that ever since your arrival, you've been followed and watched and observed, and your behavior has been, shall we say, questionable, and has engaged. It is curious to a fault. So I am just curious. Why are you here in this city? You're not here to engage in commerce. You're not here to find a place for you to stay that is amenable to your philosophy and alignments. You're not here for revenge. What is your purpose in Illusionera?
We have a problem. And
well, you have several. We'll get to those in a minute.
And when we started to address the problem, we found that this problem was also a problem for Nocticula. So we approached here to get an audience, but someone doesn't necessarily just go up and ask to talk to the great Nocticula. So
Whoa, thick.
we've been trying to get her attention to show that we're not just some prime trash that needs to be swept away, that we can actually be useful to her at the same time, addressing our needs as well. As of right now, I feel that the path that we've taken mirrors the path, or at least the end goals of what Nocticula would want as well.
That seems remote. But rather than speak in riddles, why don't you explain to me exactly how you feel that your efforts and my lady Nocticula's might coincide?
So with your approval, I would like to get some evidence from, and I reach back and point at Gatto, from this gentleman right here.
Oh, please do.
Okay.
I swing out my handy haversack and reach into the A pocket and
I say, no, not that.
Okay, what do you want me to get?
He reaches in and I'm like, shh, no, not that one.
No. Excuse me while I whip this out.
No, Ilindar would definitely let Gatto grab the ore.
Grab the ore. So you pull out a couple of big chunks of ore. So you realize that these Nihydrian crystals are radiating. I mean, you're willing to take a chance with them? Okay.
Yeah.
I am. Yeah, I'm gonna have a cloth in my hand. It's still not that great, but pull it out and put it on the floor and step back.
Just as an aside, didn't we spend like 2 campaign adventures trying to keep Gatto away from holding the Nihydrian crystal?
No. I'm fine with it.
Okay.
No, we were trying to keep him away from the actual potion that he could drink.
Okay. So we feel he's less dangerous with just the unrefined.
Well, yeah, he can't chew on the unrefined stuff. So
are we sure?
Well, no, but we're hoping.
Okay.
So once Gatto pulls that out, I will say, this is hydrogen ore that we found in the vault of the Red Lands Consortium. Now, this is in league with who's the chick with the turtle house?
Nago, who works for Hepsamira, who works for Arilu Vorlesh.
Right. So basically, I will rat Monago out and say, Monago has dealings with this company, and I know for a fact that you have forbid her from mining your crystal, and she's been taking that to our plane and causing a havoc for us. So
Is this you get the impression that she recognizes the name Arilu Vorlesh and Hepsimir when and you could see her sort of bob her head a little bit. It's a little disconcerting to see just this big hole in her head. She's got no eyes or mouth or anything. So it's a little disconcerting, but she does move her head like she is, like you get the impression she recognizes those names. And she said, "Why would this concern my lady Nocticula again? I don't understand."
Someone so great as Nocticula, if it became public knowledge that even when she is told this subdemon Monago no, and she's doing it behind her back anyway, that doesn't do good things for her reputation.
You think that an insect like this Monago can affect my lady Nocticula's reputation in any negative way?
I am not certain.
That's what we're saying.
Well, this is certainly an interesting conundrum. On one hand, you have violated our only law, and by any other normal suggestion, your rights are completely forfeit, and you would be stripped, dretched, and sleeved and sold into slavery to work out the rest of your pitiful lives in some hateful shit pit. That would be the usual punishment for violating this law. However, since you seem to have an interesting story, I will consult with Nocticula and see what her guidance is. In the meantime, please be my guest tonight at the Scab Mettler show. And after it is done, we'll talk again. And with that, she makes a note.
Bow and say thank you for your consideration.
She doesn't even acknowledge that kind of stuff. She sort of bows or sort of like moves her hand, and then the Corano demons are like, "Follow us." And so you get back into like the triangle, and they turn around and they walk you back out. And this time they walk you into the thing, and it looks like these fights have already started, and it's a real crazy thing. Hold on a sec.
Flavor text.
It's a real crazy thing going on out there. You see, it's a huge stadium. There's probably 20,000 demons and creatures in here. And what you see is even more interesting. Down in the center, there's an arena. And in it, you see several creatures sort of buy off. And it looks like you've come in just at the start of a fresh battle. There is there are two creatures in the arena right now, and they are stripped to the waist. They are muscular, squat creatures. You've never seen anything like this. Humanoid creatures. You've not really seen anything like this before. And as they, sort of the bell rings and that kind of stuff, you see them both step forward into the center of the ring, and they produce these long silver knives. And they begin to, what looks to be very ritualistically, cut themselves in strange curving cuts. Blood pours out of the cuts, but you can see even from here, and Lothar, you're the first to notice, the blood pours down, and as it pours, it immediately hardens. And with these different cuts that they make, they form different layers of what look to be, over time, armor. They're essentially cutting themselves, bleeding, and the blood is transforming into like pieces of hard armor on their bodies. And it's very interesting the way they do it, because each one does it differently, and they bleed in different ways, and they coax the liquid blood into certain areas to ultimately their armor looks very different. And when they do it, here's just some examples of what this looks like once they get it done. And you can see the different ways that they use their blood to cover their thighs, their shoulders, their heads, things like that. And they do it in very artistic ways. Can you guys see this?
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay.
then the battle begins, and you see these guys fighting each other like gladiators with these same, sort of knives that they've used to cut themselves. And it's very exciting. I mean, it's a great battle, but it's kind of like you've never seen this kind of sport before. It's very odd and very strange, and everybody is sort of like cheering them on. You can hear abyssals and everybody as we went. Soon, it doesn't take long, maybe in a minute of straight battle, one gets another one and rips off one of his plates and plunges the knife into his chest. He staggers backwards, the blood fountaining out, and it forms this big cone in front of him, and he falls over, and the crowd goes crazy, that kind of thing. And then the next one happens, and they bring out two. This one's a 2-on-2, and they do the same thing: the ritualistic carving of the thing, of this blood to form the armor, and again these fights to the death. It is, at first, it's interesting, and then it becomes increasingly gross as they go 2-on-2s, 3-on-3s, more individuals. These guys look, have been more ornate armor, spending more time on it. It's just this, frankly, the strangest gladiatorial fight that you have ever seen. After several bouts, maybe an hour, however, you're not sure how they are contacted, but the lead Corona demon stands up. Everybody else stands up. It is time, and you guys pick up, turn around, and go back through the way you came, back into Sephira's office. She's sitting there in the same position, and again, there's people like going around her and that kind of stuff. And she waves them away again, and she looks over at you guys. You again stop again, and you come back out, and she looks at you, and she says, "For reasons that I have not been able to ascertain, Nocticula has taken an interest in you, and she says she will meet with you to hear these stories about how her interests and your interests align. She's especially interested," and the head sort of swivels to look over at Flashheart. "She's especially interested in why a paladin of Iomade," and she looks at Lothar, "and a high priest of Erastil would find themselves in Lucianaria allied to a demon lord. But that is not for me to determine. She has only..."
What demon lord are we allied to?
Nocticula.
Oh, right. Okay.
She's a demon lord.
Yeah.
She runs this whole plane. She's in charge
right.
of this whole plane of the abyss.
Yeah, sorry. I was just thinking of the other deals we made, and don't make deals with demons. And I'm trying to run through the Rolodex of other people.
Checking the paladin book, that kind of thing.
The paladin. Can I? No.
So she says, "My lady Nocticula says that she cannot see you until you have taken care of your problem. And she encourages you to do that with all due haste."
Oh yeah, I'm ready.
May we ask that until we have this conversation with her, that the Red Lands Consortium CEO is kept off our back up until that time, because I'm sure she would be more than happy to waylay us on our trash cleaning exercise.
We can make it known. We can make it known to the Lich Elali that my lady Nocticula has taken an interest in you. What she does is up to her.
Okay. Liches, man.
And with that, she makes that dismissive motion again, and until such time, notify me when your problem is resolved, and I will make the appropriate arrangements. And then the guys are like, "This way," and basically turns you guys around, walks you back out the delivery door, and sort of you get out onto the street out in front of thing. People are coming out. The show's over apparently, and they're coming out of the Ardent Dreams, or some of them are going into the bar and that kind of stuff. There's a huge bar there, and basically the Corano demons, and it's almost magical if you didn't see them away, but they all just kind of like, as you guys get to the street, they just kind of like go off in their different directions. And it's like moments. They've turned the corner, gone around that way, over there. Now I can't see them. Where did he go? I don't know. But all 11 of them suddenly just vaporize, and you're
Time to
just left
call an
standing
Uber.
there out on the street.
Time to call an Uber.
Yeah.
Let's get off the street quick. We made a big deal of being seen on the way here, but I wasn't anticipating that they're going to leave us to our own devices out on the street. Here we
You
go.
guys need a cab?
Yes, sir. You're our guy.
Well, yeah, you call him with the little calling cards, and he shows up and he's like, "I'll be there in 20." He shows up and he's got that big cart, that kind of thing, and he shows up and Ms. Farina, good to see you again. Where to, boys?
Are we ready to? I mean, we're loaded for bear. We could take care of lizard house chick now. His name.
As long as we've got all the stuff prepped and all the spells.
Monago.
Yeah.
Monago. Thank you. I was looking on the map here. I'm ready to do this deal now. What do you think?
Well, at this point, we have what now until we get the rest of our magic items?
About 24 hours. You can pick them up tomorrow.
So wait till tomorrow.
Do we want to go after Monago now, or do we want to wait 24 hours?
I want to wait 24 hours.
Let's wait 24 hours.
And then go.
Yeah, let's wait 24 hours.
Yeah, we kind of have a golden pass right now, so there's no rush, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, there's a rush because they said take care of it quickly, but.
Well, yeah, but I'm thinking.
I'm thinking a day isn't.
Yeah.
Well, we can go into this bar and get into a demon bar fight for no good reason.
Yeah, because you need to generate a lot more notoriety to get Nocticula's attention.
I think we have enough notoriety at this point.
I think we need to lay off that one for a while.
We got notoriety dripping off our ears. So
yeah, basically she says, take care of your problem, then go back and see Sephira and she'll set it up.
Yeah. So
Nocticula's interested. She's curious.
So now we can rest.
I hope one of us gets to tell Monago that the lady of the city doesn't give an F about her. So.
Well, but it's not like Monago and Nocticula were allies. Nocticula runs this plane and runs this city. Monago has been for a while now, several decades, on the prime material plane. Mm-hmm. It was only you guys that drove her back here by forcing her out of the refinery. After you guys had spoiled her attack on Canebras, you had spoiled her ability to knock out the Wardstone network, you had fucked up her refinery, and now you followed her back to the city where she has a house, where she's trying to get back in good graces with her bosses, and now you're going to wreck that.
And for most of that time, she's been out of favor anyway, so.
Yeah.
So she is like Ty 2.0.
What now?
She is like Ty 2.0.
Good luck, Ty. Good luck, Monago. Big cake.
I think at this point we could spend the time resting and preparing, then get the rest of the magic items that we've all purchased, and go in full, right? And unleash Fletch.
Jennifer, do you have a question?
I like that plan.
No, my light sensor turns off and I gotta wave my arms around.
Oh, okay.
So if you next character you play, you got to play like a sorcerer. So you're like, magic missile.
So it's like Gladiator.
Mm-hmm.
On my mark, unleash Fletch.
On my mark, unleash Fletch. All right, so while we got a moment, you guys are going to rest, pick up your stuff first thing tomorrow morning. Could you update your character hit points and sizes in certain cases or whatever this way, so I have updated character tokens to take over to the Monago page?
Yeah.
And then I'm curious as to what your plan is.
Currently on the map page, I'm looking at Mendev, Vestrovian Forest. There's Draugot.
Yeah, your character should be on there.
Oh,
yeah, right here. Right next to Siggy.
Back there. We're on the prime plane.
Oh, there we go. Okay.
No, you guys aren't here. This is just the character page.
We're back, guys. It's a terrible nightmare.
Chuck, did you get my message?
Hang on.
Who?
Chuck.
What?
Who is it?
I've already talked to him.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And Les, that was the roll.
Got it.
So this is the page we need to keep updated, right? Les, this is what you're gonna do from now on.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, this is just the characters. This is where I store the tokens so that I can go back and grab everybody in mass kind of thing. But I would like it if you guys take just a moment, update these tokens, at least with the hit points, so that I can grab them.
I went up 1 hit point.
A hit point, did you say?
I went up it 1 hit point. Yeah.
Les will re-roll that for you. You go.
Yeah.
No, it's because I gave up the con belt.
Yeah.
I went up 12. But I lost
Oh,
11.
okay.
So you lost the con. Gotcha. Okay.
But it's worth it for the +4 strength. Wait till you see the +4 strength.
Yeah, like I said, same thing. Storm and her numbers went up quite a bit.
Well, my charisma going up should help with that my smite here.
Wait till I do mass bull strength on all of you.
Yeah.
Another
Oh.
+4.
While we're talking about that, can you not include me in that, please?
In what, the bull strength?
Yes.
When you give me bull strength, I want to have like a Trogdor logo instead of my
You don't
one
want big
beefy
balls,
arm.
Chuck?
And no, there's a reason he doesn't want his strength messed with.
Yeah, I wouldn't do just the fighters, pretty much.
He's
Okay.
afraid of random drug testing, you know.
Ah,
He's already got massive mass kitten strength working.
and Otto, you don't want this hammer?
Well, I'll take the hammer.
Okay. Because I think with your spring attack, you should be able to jump in, pin her, and jump back
and
out.
jump back out.
Because I've got a great big sword coming tomorrow.
I'll take the hammer.
I
I can see Les creating in his mind how he's going to kill us all now.
Yeah.
All right, you guys all sorted?
I got my
Ours,
hit points updated.
tokens, yeah.
Okay, Fletcher's ready. Flashheart, you got your hit points
Yep.
updated?
Yep.
Okay.
At some point, I want to go back with you or one of the other guys and figure out if I did my hit points right the first time when my first few levels. I seem off.
Lothar, am I correct in assuming your hit points are 94? Okay. And Bardos, you're all ready to go?
Yep.
Okay, Farina and Otto?
Yeah. Oh, Otto. I forgot Otto. Farina's ready. Sorry. Let me go back and get Otto.
That's all right.
Are you in there? You want to just change Otto?
I can. What's his
Oh, that's weird. Otto and I have the same 85. Is that
Uh-oh.
possible? Yeah, I guess so.
That's trouble.
Oh, you know what? I didn't even look. Hang on.
Hey, Chuck,
Yo,
can you send me an email with the stats on the hammer?
I don't have the hammer, buddy.
That's Fletcher.
That's
Fletcher,
Fletch.
okay.
That's Dan.
Dan's who you want.
I'll put it in there right now.
And I thought that there was an idea where we were never going to allow. Oh no, wait, that was for Les's benefit. No, give Don the hammer.
Okay. All right. Let me grab these. Anybody else? Everybody's done. And Gatto, you're not Drow Gatto anymore, right?
I am Gato.
You're just regular, old-fashioned Gatto.
What's the difference? Just a look, or do you actually have different abilities?
Just a look.
It's a smart look. All right, let me just check something. Oh, perfect. All right, I'm gonna put you. Well, let me put you right here. But, oops, shit. No, that's okay. This could work.
There you go, Don.
Holy.
Holy.
Ow!
Holy guacamole.
Exactly.
Yeah. Gato goes to grab it. It's like, ow. I'm just going to grab a glove and hang on.
Yeah.
I don't want germs. So
I'm not feeling this hammer. It might have COVID on it.
All right, so I'm just gonna put you guys on here at the front, but I'm so you spend the night. no things. Yardley actually comes by. Of course, Flashheart lets him in. He takes the detritus from the table, drinks a little vodka, and shits
Takes a
behind the
dump on
couch.
the carpet. Yeah.
Yeah, shits behind the couch.
I do want to talk to Yardley too. How many wiremen could you get together? And what would that cost us?
You mean like my family?
How many you got in your family?
Oh, I don't count so good, but lots of mouths to feed. That's why I come see you. That's why I take the
Okay.
sandwiches. The
This
crab
is
salad.
where Illandar is going to interrupt this conversation and say, no, I think we're good.
No. What if I have somewhere for you to be at a certain time? You think you and your family members could show up and maybe provide a noisy distraction?
Absolutely. Yardley will do the job for you. I always do. You are my best and most employer. I am your man. Whatever you fucking want me to do, I will do.
All right. Come back tomorrow morning and we'll talk.
Tomorrow morning it is. Then he
Okay.
shits again behind the couch and takes off with a sandwich.
Yeah,
And
Flashheart, you're employing him, so you get to clean up behind the couch.
Yeah.
I have a special Iomedean cantrip to dissolve it there.
It's wireman shit prestidigitation.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's
But yeah, he
wireman
shits.
shit the cupcakes. I put the cupcakes back on the table.
Okay.
Table.
So next morning, you guys go around to the thing, pick up all your stuff. Dan's blade, when you guys get a look at it, I mean, it's like black iron and red runes all over it. This thing's badass. It's also a little scary. Yeah, that greatsword.
I detect evil on it immediately.
It's not evil.
All right, I detect evil on Dan.
I was going to say, have you checked Dan out for evil?
Yeah.
He seems. I don't know how evil he is on a regular day, let alone today. So
Well,
I mean,
we all had to start good. So
he seems kind of angry about stuff. I don't know. He's you could tell that Dan's itching for a fight. He picks up that sword. He's like, I'm ready. I am
all right.
fucking ready.
I'm gonna do random good testing throughout the day.
But one of the things that you notice as you guys are sort of walking around and picking up stuff and stopping by the stores and things is that the neighborhood that you guys kind of wander through has got a different vibe. People like are getting out of your way on the street and that kind of stuff where it wasn't, happening before. You stop by the bodega guy and you're buying a juicy juice and he just hands you your change and like doesn't say anything. And you get this weird kind of sense that you're being watched, although there's so many people out here. Surely, there's probably a bunch of people like watching people and stuff like that. But there's a palpable sense of something else going on in the thing. And like the people in the neighborhood are sort of like treating you differently. You're not sure if it's because they know that you guys hit Red Lands and that that you guys have like crossed the line. They don't know if you are Nocticula's favorites. All they know is that yesterday they expected never to see you again because you got escorted away by 11 Carano demons. And today you're picking up packages. So, everybody's, it's like, it's like if you live next door to some people that were a little sketchy and on Tuesday you saw like a bunch of cops and 7 FBI cars show up outside their building. They wheel them out and take them away, and then the next afternoon they're outside barbecuing. Yeah, they're just they're putting a few dogs on the grill, and they're waving. You're like, "Hey, how's it going, neighbor?" That kind of stuff, and you're just like, "The fuck is going on over there?" All right, so it takes most of the morning to pick up your stuff, and you're just feeling this funky vibe. But you get back, have some lunch.
Real quick.
Yeah.
I'm going to reach out to the drow that
Okay.
tried to set up the barbecue with me,
Mm-hmm.
and basically leave them a note saying, "I'm sure you guys are good enough to know that there's been some stuff going down that's kept us a little busy.
Yeah.
Sorry I missed our previous appointment. Looking forward to the reschedule."
Okay, so an apology and a resched offer. So nice, keeping things quaint. Up and aboard. All right, cool.
Like I said,
just send a messenger out to take that to him.
It seems like this isn't a secret what happened, so
Yeah, I wonder what the small talk at the revised barbecue date's going to be like. So, what was it like getting hanging out with 11 Carano demons, that kind of stuff. But yeah, I mean, you get the feeling that maybe that the neighborhood doesn't know everything that's going on, but they certainly know that something happened.
and I'm sure that's gotten back to the drow. So, or if not, it will soon. So.
Okay, let me finish this quick message here.
I'll let you finish 2 of them.
Nope. Just the one. And if I could type.
Tell Gatto he can't backstab me. I'm watching.
Oh, even while you're watching, I can backstab you.
You try to figure out how to put a bleed edge on the hammer.
On the hammer, yeah.
Yeah. I drop it on you and it creates 4 levels of bleed.
He's sharpening the edges up really
I
nice.
make it keen.
Okay. Go. Good. Okay. All right. So it's early afternoon. You've had lunch at the hotel. You've picked up all your packages. So you have all the shopping stuff. That's all taken care of. What's your next move?
We got a date.
Okay. A date with Monago.
Let's dance.
All right. So we're just going to roll up. I'm thinking frontal assault right through the jaws of the
Well,
thing.
let me ask, do we want to go in through the mouth, or do you want me to
Or
use my new
Take it.
Southwest
Okay.
item and like
Wait,
push our way in through the wall of the tower?
Iland, I thought you were gonna go for a rear entry, and I was gonna.
I think I could figure out, I think
Yeah.
the tower makes the most sense. It's the least visible. It's the least disgusting. I think it'll drop us in where we're unexpected.
Right.
That's my vote.
okay. Okay.
Like, basically 10 cubic feet of stone I can remove each minute. So
What
All right,
can we do with Yardley's pals? I'm thinking we either have them come to the entrance and make themselves annoying there and draw everybody who might be inside towards the front, or
Oh, so you want Yardley to cause a distraction at the front of the creature?
yeah. Well, that's how I was thinking. I'm polling the group to see if they have a better use for Yardley. Basically, I have a swarm on call here is what I'm looking for.
swarm on call.
Yeah,
Where
I'm
are
not
we
sure how
thinking-
reliable that swarm.
Where are we thinking that this creature is going to have open areas where people could live? I mean, how many spaces in a body are like?
She
I know
said
the
it was like 2 football
Massive.
fields long, right? Yeah, it's like 600 feet
massive.
long.
Yeah. So the stomach's going to be a big area. That might be the central area, maybe.
No idea.
I mean, hard to say. If it actually floated or flew at one point, it could have all sorts of hollow places and bones and whatnot.
They could have been hollowed out from the inside. We don't know.
You know, the other body organs like liver, they're all full of stuff. I don't know that you could live in those.
Right.
Could you?
Well, I think we also want to be on the lookout when we get there. They said there's a previous resident, a giant tick that could be up in there.
Right.
That's what the guy said, that there was something like legend had. It was like called the tick.
So
Should it say spoon?
Hey, Eric.
Going.
Eric,
I'm
What's up,
Arthur.
Eric? Yeah,
up there.
I always loved the Slater mouse. He was my favorite. Such a weasel.
And we also need to pick up a few cans of Febreze before we go in.
Well, yeah. How are you going to deal with that? If you decide to go through the spiked tower and go into the middle of the creature all at sort of once, how do you plan to get around? I mean, Farina vomited twice while she was there checking it out.
Wow, I forgot.
And
about
are you going to
Finch.
bring your animals too? I mean, I assume Farina is going to bring Otto, but I mean, what about Siggy and Baru? And maybe they might not be as able
Hardy as a
to
character?
handle it. Yeah, exactly.
You know what? Maybe we can see the potion maker to see if he's got something that can kill the smell of this, so not so overwhelming.
I
Birds
mean,
can't
Baru is
smell.
just thinking this is lunch.
Yeah, Baru's like, sweet.
Yeah. Ooh, this smells
Corn.
awesome.
What is that? What is that? Poop and rotting meat?
Yeah,
I'll take a double helping.
Is she a rat or a carrion crawler? Remember the old carrion crawlers?
Oh yeah.
Third level, like, oh god, it's a carrion crawler. Run for your lives. Worse than a rust monster.
Just as scary as the rust monsters. I was gonna say.
Yeah.
I got nothing environmentally for letting people get around. I don't know, Chuck, do you got anything like that? Does Lothar have any environmental spells?
I don't think so.
I mean, I have wind wall and stuff, and I have arrows, you know, that will generate wind. I just don't know if that's going to attract a lot of attention, or, and I think we could create a wind funnel to pull scent, or maybe push it in, or, God, I'm not sure.
I'm thinking
I need to
that
talk too. Jennifer, I mean, I know Farina was kind of like focused on saving this creature or killing it at the least. What do we want to do with this creature? Does anybody
Well,
have any?
the reason I was interested in that is I was thinking that perhaps if it had enough sentience to it and was in so much pain that it might actually consider helping us in our mission if I promised to put it out of its misery. But unfortunately, it's a husk of a creature at this point.
Yeah,
Well,
no discernible intelligence. I mean, it's
Right.
just in incredible amounts of pain. What you couldn't tell was that it once had intelligence, and the amount of pain that it had was, drove it insane,
Right.
or that it never had any real intelligence.
Bardo's no druid, but he would be kind of queasy about this creature. He would kind of feel like we should kill it if we can, just because it's a horrible situation.
And Farina's going to be in the same boat when we're done, but I don't know, killing it now could lead to all sorts of huge problems if we're inside of it.
well, let's not kill it now, but maybe we hit the potion maker to see if there's anything that we could either inject or give a creature like this that would maybe finish it off, or at least cause a huge explosion inside, and B, maybe something to keep the stench off us. This is gonna be a hell of a dry cleaning bill later.
I can't imagine a guy would specialize in being able to remove the stench of this particular beast, but I guess it's worth
Well,
a
not
try.
this particular beast, but I'm talking about just so we can, not so much removing the stench. I'm just saying about us not being overcome by its smell.
Yeah.
I think Farina
Let's-
is kind of not realistic because its mind is destroyed. From what Les is saying, it's pretty much, unless there's like crazy healing powers, but I don't even think that's going to fix it. I think it's beyond.
You're giving a holy weapon to God. Oh man, I'm gonna start giving Gato some pamphlets for the Iamadean Church.
Didn't burn his hand.
You got to take the holy. Are you going to be able to use that holy hammer?
Yes.
If not, if you don't use it, then I'll look for a dual wield feat in the future. Radiant.
I mean, it's a house, right? Somebody's living in this, so it's not like
Yeah.
the stink might just be on the outside too. And I mean,
Worse up top, so it could just be, you know, as bad air rises,
That's-
like heat.
that's the wounds excreting stuff, but on the inside, hopefully,
You're
if
not
it's
going by
eating
the.
it all. I'm thinking the stomach is the place to try first, because that's, if it's not eating it all, then the stomach's going to be a huge, empty, open cavern that's got nothing going on
Gord,
except
you're not-
for pools of acid.
You're not going by the tauntaun rules, where the only place it smells worse is on the inside.
Oh yeah, but I mean, it's a house, right? Somebody's living in there, so there's got to be some way to control that.
I mean, everything that according to Nazarius, that's her house. That's Monago's house. She lives there. She lives inside this creature. But according to some random tiefling dude that Farina talked to in a bar, there's also a creature in there called the Tick that lived there theoretically before Monago, but grew so fat and bloated on the blood of the creature that it can't get out anymore.
And can't move.
And how does that affect us?
Well, I don't know. It depends on if you run into him or not.
Yeah,
You can hear for his haunting call that goes, oh, 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 solo.
I think at this point, just like pick an entrance and then
I was
go and start dealing.
All I can
Yeah,
tell you,
I'm fine with your tower plan. I'm just saying I've hired a distraction potentially, and I would love to hit the potion maker and see if there's something we can either inject this thing with to kill it besides trying to beat it to death, or sorry, I was just watching Jennifer.
There we go.
Very distracting. And she
Sorry.
cast her incantation
As she casts light, yes.
Yeah, like I cast light.
I can just tell you that when I was investigating, from reading in between Les's lines at the time, you know, I feel metagaming going in through the tower makes the most sense. After spending the day, it just seemed like that was probably the most logical point of entry. I'm going to keep voting for that.
I agree with Farina.
Oh yeah, mask up and drop
Just
down.
because she's threatened me the most.
And she has those areas
Not
of
in a
rogue
long
slaying.
Because
time,
she's
Gatto.
threatened me the most.
Not in a long time.
It
She's got
has
my
been a
vote.
while. And Gatto's noticed. Believe me. Yes.
Lothar makes a mental note. Step up your fucking game.
Okay, so it's fairly cheap, especially if we get them in scroll form. There's a first level clerical spell called Air Bubble that lasts for minutes per level. Like I said, it's first level, so it would be super cheap that we can either get potions or get scrolls, and just all take those before we go in, and that nullifies us from any of this smell-based fortitude
Yeah.
saves or whatever.
That's a great idea.
Well, keep in mind also that you get a 25% discount at Melkor's
Okay.
for saving his life. So, and that goes for both potions and scrolls.
That's
So-
a good idea.
This is something we would have done the day before because we're smarter than I am.
Okay.
What was
Our
it called again?
characters are smarter than I am.
Air bubble.
But yeah, it costs twice as much to get potions as it does to get scrolls. But other than that, one of them's I think 25, one of them's 50 a
Yeah.
piece.
Minus 25% for the discount.
Right.
Where will you guys find the money?
Yeah. Jeez.
It's
Imagine
a first level wizard scrolls. We can get scrolls and I can read them because it's a touch range.
Yeah. Like I said, the scrolls are cheaper, and I'm sure with Bardo's skill and the fact that Lothar actually can cast this spell, that should be really quick for you two to kind of just hit everybody with it.
Be right back.
Yeah, we both can. Clerics can and wizards.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, I wouldn't blow any first level spells to memorize it, but
Right.
having probably 2 for each person,
Yeah, the scrolls are cheap.
I would say let's do that.
25 gold pieces minus 25%.
So 20 gold pieces
Yeah.
ish.
And what do we got here? 1, 2,
Seven.
So nice
people.
to be 11th level instead of 3rd level, scrabbling for one scroll.
So
Did you say Lothar going to leave the owl behind, or is he coming?
No, the owl will be flying over. He'll be
like,
aerial
outside and
recon.
we're inside?
Yes.
So needs a
Gotcha.
bubble.
Yeah, he's going to stay aerial recon.
So
Now,
1, 2,
If
3,
I remember correctly, owls don't smell, so it's not going to bother
They
him.
smell awful.
They don't smell.
I don't think so.
No, they don't.
There are birds that have a sense of smell, like turkey vultures, but I don't think owls are in that group. They hunt by eyesight and stealth.
Les, we need 8 scrolls of air bubble.
Okay. So that's 25 times 8, which would be
20
200.
times 8.
200.
20 times 8 with a discount.
Yeah.
Oh, 20 times 8. Right. 20 times 8, which is 160 gold pieces.
Yep.
Okay. Done and done.
So yeah, we get there, hit us right before we walk in, and then if we're there longer than we think, then we'll hit us again.
All right. So let's talk about walking in, because remember, this is a 5-story building that somebody ripped out of the ground, turned upside down, and speared into a 600-foot long creature. So the entrance is probably 80 feet in the air, and it's essentially the bottom of the building. So you are going to be climbing down the building into the creature, which is essentially climbing up the building. It's not going to be easy. How are you guys going to
Maybe we should bring
negotiate?
some rope. Maybe we should bring some rope. Or
I
you know,
can do
actually,
a spider climb.
spider
communal.
climb. Yeah, let's do
I'll
spider climb.
spider climb on everybody that needs it. I think Jennifer's got that now on her.
Dun, dun,
Yeah, she's
dun,
got
dun,
I've
slippers
got
of spider
climb
climbing.
slippers now that
I was
allow me
looking at
to
them.
actually use my hands while I spider climb, which is awesome.
So you could basically hang upside down from the ceiling and shoot arrows.
Yes.
Yes.
So excited about
They
that.
cause bleed.
I withdraw my approval of your shopping list.
And Otto's just gonna have to use acrobatics. I think he could do it. He's got.
Otto's like, fuck, I'm not going on the ceiling.
Actually,
What kind
We're
of
gonna put little
bullshit is that?
booties on Otto also.
I got 110 minutes of spider climb that I can split to whoever needs it. So just tell me who wants it.
All right, cool.
Yeah, I'll need some.
Yeah.
1, 2,
I mean,
Illendar.
if you got extras, Otto will take it, but he's got a 13.
Storm doesn't need it.
Storm does not need it.
Everybody else does, right?
A demon
Scott,
fly
I
on the
need-
wall says we can smell smear peppermint below our noses. Thank you, fly on the
I
wall.
don't need it done. You need.
I do.
Okay, so 1.
So can I also assume? So how many people can Storm carry on his saddle rack when you guys like grab
Her
onto
saddle
the thing?
rack, two.
Two.
She's got two seats that sit on top of her, but
Okay.
they've got the straps that go around with extra grips all
Yeah.
around it. So whenever we need to do overland flight, people can just like a helicopter kind of stick their feet in the bottom and then grab the handle and
Right.
Have
So
zip lines.
can you take the whole? I mean, so the question I should just ask the question. I
All of
wanna
us,
know.
yes.
Can it take all of you over to the? I'm assuming that you're all going to grab onto Storm. Storm's going to fly up the 80 feet to the bottom of this tower, and then sort of like land in it. And you guys will use spider climb to sort of climb down up the tower into the spire to get into the body. Is that? Am I reading that right? That's
Yes.
the plan.
The idea.
yes.
And you're going to have air bubbles on to keep you from vomiting and being
Smelling any kind of gas.
discombobulated by the horrifying smell of the infected creature.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay. All right, cool.
We want to just put 2 people on the saddle of Storm and save the
Yeah.
minutes.
Typically I have Farina with me because she can kill stuff while she's up there. So if she's in the saddle, she's got her hands free and she can be the cannon while we're flying there.
Okay, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 is auto, flash heart 6. So I need 6 divided, so 110 divided by 6. So we have 18 minutes of spider climb.
So yeah, once we get to the top, then that's the first thing we'll do is hit us with that, and then we'll go. Well, you guys hit us with that and the air bubbles.
Yeah. But that's enough time, we think, to get to the top.
So when are you guys taking off? I mean, are you taking off from the hotel and going that way, or are you getting? Are you going to take a cab?
We'll get a little closer first, yeah.
Yeah, got to take a cab over there and then maybe
Yeah.
launch from a different place. Okay. And just so you guys know that this whole operation where you guys are like hanging onto the side of Storm and heading to the top of the thing, this is the soundtrack that has to be the case for this.
Gonna tell Aunt Mary about Uncle John. He claimed me as a mirror, but he had a lot of fun. Oh, baby. Yeah, baby.
Remember this from Predator?
I do now.
They're coming on the helicopter.
Yeah, exactly. Where the Jesse the Body Ventura has the boom box.
Yeah.
And he just turns it on as they go like all red lights. So they're going, they're inserting on the helicopter. That's got to be what it sounds like when you guys are going in
Yes.
on this thing with Storm, like, weaving around and the sky whales overhead and all this stuff. It's got to be a surreal feeling. People are all like looking like, what the hell is that? What is that? Is that a what can't be? What is it? Is it a
baby sky whale? What is that?
is it a baby sky whale or is it some sort of dragon? So but yeah, so I'm assuming that Long Tall Sally is playing as you guys you're like, and Bartos is like, casting spider cloud now, over the the sound of Storm whipping through the air. But yeah, so you guys come in and Storm takes a pass at it while Bartos is getting all those spider climbs and the air bubbles taken care of. And then finally Storm makes a second pass and then comes in and very gingerly sort of lands on the open part. As you go in, you can see, as you fly overhead, you can see that it is indeed hollow. And this tower, this 5-story tower it's like a syringe. It's just jammed directly into the creature. And so it's a little crumbly at the bottom, so Storm's a little nervous, but there is like stuff inside the tower, like staircase and stuff like that. It's all sort of like mangled and destroyed and stuff like this, but Storm feels that it's okay to land, and he actually doesn't land on the edge. He lands on the all right, I'll work on it, Kyle. And so so he actually goes inside a little bit to find a purchase. It's really treacherous in there, and it's a good thing that you guys went with the spider climb, because it would be very difficult to negotiate this with ropes and crampons and stuff like that. So it would be good. But the spider climb allows you guys to just like, and you guys dismount and find yourself in this tube, essentially. Then you can see that it goes down and it goes deep into this creature. And even with air bubbles on, you still occasionally get like a whiff. And it's just like, oh my God, what is that? What is that smell? It sounds like it smells like decomposition, but it's not just decomposition. It's also like outgassing of some sort of bacterial infection. It's decomp and it's pus and some sort of sulfury smell and some sort of like, it's like, somebody's bowels have been cut open and all their partially digested food have been released out. It is absolutely rank in here. And if it weren't for the air bubbles, you guys would be making like a shload of fortitude saves to try and keep your lunch, which you are in little gasps starting to regret the crab salad sandwiches that you guys ordered up
Right.
at the hotel.
That probably wasn't the best idea.
Do you have any sort of marching order? Who's in front? What's that? Before we switch over to the crazy map, the map of craziness.
I would say either Gatto for stealth and traps or Storm for the tank.
Gatto will go first.
Fletcher, you gonna put up with this obvious diss?
I'll send
I want to
Otto.
be somewhere up front.
I'll send Otto with Gatto in stealth mode.
I'm not in stealth mode, but I will be in the what do they call it? The rapid response team level of the ranking.
You're the opposite.
Yeah.
Can't roll but a 3 tonight. Crazy.
All right. So who's in front? Did you say Storm
Otto's in front,
and Gatto?
Gatto.
Oh,
Otto.
we didn't release my Yardleys to the front door yet. That was my plan.
Yeah, you could do that. So yeah, I mean, you just tell Yardley and his family that you want him to go to this place and make a ruckus. And I mean, I don't know what you're offering him, but I
will offer him
some sort of like food stuff and maybe an extra bottle of vodka or something like that.
Yeah, I'll offer him a little more than that because I want as big a group as he can get. The bigger the group, the more he'll get. For foodstuffs, a few trays of food and some big booze, but I want them to annoy whatever is inside this creature so much they might go check the front door.
So does anybody but me suspect that Flashheart is going to bring Yardley back to Dresden with him when you guys ever get there, along with the Sky Whale?
Yeah.
I think the rest of us,
and Yardley is going to immediately begin shitting like behind the Sword of Valor in the main room.
What are you talking about? This is gonna be.
I think we need to put that in the Paladin book, man. Just get it done with now, where it can't happen.
Yeah, I'm gonna convert
Yardley
Yardley to
will
a lawful good.
mysteriously die at the hands of a clerical spell nobody saw coming.
A lot of alignment checks going up in here. Yeah, this is my next player character. I'm gonna be the son of Yardley.
Yardley Jr.
Yardley Jr. I'm here to avenge my father.
Where's your couch?
Unless I want to cast mage armor on me and Farina.
Okay.
Ooh, thank you.
Storm already has mage armor pretty much every day. I start with that. So
you roll out of bed, mage armor.
Pretty much, yeah.
Does mage armor stack?
Then first thing I do is hit her with the mage armor.
Does it stack with bark skin?
Yeah. Mage armor does not stack with regular armor, but it stacks with
bark skin.
With natural armor.
Yeah, so because mage armor is a deflection bonus, but bark skin is a natural armor bonus. So those
mage
would stack.
armor is an actual armor bonus. That's why it doesn't.
Oh, it's an armor bonus. That's right. That's right.
And bark skin is a natural armor.
Yep. All right.
Night, Eric. Good to see you.
Night.
You taking off?
Yeah.
All right. See you, Eric. Good to see you, man.
Good to see
Eric.
you.
I don't think we'll be.
Check in.
We only got about 50 more minutes left, so.
Oh, it's almost midnight. Yeah.
Take care. Good night.
Night.
Adios.
All right. I am going to switch maps. I hope this works.
Armor types do not stack. The sheet only, the TOS sheet only uses the highest bonus.
Yeah, if you have two armor bonuses, it only goes to the highest one.
Yeah, it's the same type. It only takes the highest one, right?
Yeah, you don't have any armor on though.
No,
Jennifer,
she's got like.
we took that off of Farina, so.
So I just have to make a, because it says bark skin. It's giving me the plus for the mage armor, but not the bark skin on the TOS sheet.
You have bark skin on the laptop?
Do you have natural armor somewhere? Do you have like an amulet of natural armor?
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
because bark skin is natural armor.
Yeah.
Okay,
That's
so-
why it's not stacking.
It doesn't stack, it'll take the highest one you have, so whatever.
Okay, so that's what I just bought. So then the bark skin, we can change out spells, right, Les, periodically? I haven't done that in forever. Like we can.
Well, you can give that to Otto or anybody else
sure.
too.
Yeah. Yeah, and I will give it to Otto. I've done that before, and I can ask if anybody else needs it.
Yeah, when you were talking about mage armor and bark skin not stacking, I'm like, that's different armors. So
Yeah.
Dado got a new familiar.
Fletcher would take bark skin if
Yeah,
it's for that.
with a
take
bowel
bark skin?
control problem and Tourette syndrome. That's going to be the perfect familiar for you.
I'll cast bark skin on Fletch.
Thanks. What's the bonus
right.
on here?
+4.
Thank you.
All right. You guys are slowly spider climbing down. You can see the circular stairway broken and disheveled, and up towards the top there seems to be this like little area that is sort of sectioned aside, partially ruined, a partially ruined floor up at the top, and then what looks to be right here as you approach, what looks to be maybe some sort of wrenched trap door or door. It would have been when this tower was upright, it would have been in the ceiling, but now it's sort of at the bottom end. It's probably some sort of access to the minaret, the point of this, since you've traversed most of the tower itself. I've got you in a perspective thing. I guess you do see it. So okay,
Yeah.
perfect.
it's there now.
Gotcha. Okay. No. I was just going to ask if you saw it. So good deal. All right. So you guys are moving forward. What do you do?
Move towards the bottom.
Okay. So you keep.
I'll be in a row with Fletcher. Whatever Fletcher is, I'll be his right hand man or left hand man, whatever. So we're ready to respond to people up front getting stabbed.
You can tell. I mean, it's starting to. How long does air bubble last?
1 minute a level, whatever the
Oh,
scroll
it's okay.
was.
11.
All right.
minutes or whatever. Yeah.
So it would be pretty at least 5 or 6 minutes, which would be more than enough time for you probably to get in here. But if you waste a lot of time in the tower, that might be problematic. There is also some damage you can sort of see over here to the tower itself, where it's crumbling. On the other side, you get like glimpses of something. You're not sure what. It looks like smoky. I don't know. It's weird.
Say it again. What's it look like?
Well, there's it's like smoky inside there, but you also see what looks to be, some, I don't know, but some like lumps in the floor or some sort of weird, I don't know, cysts maybe. I don't know. It's weird it's hard to see.
I'd say we steer clear of those. Cysts in the floor. Just sounds bad. Like pimple ready to go.
To the floor. It was my unsuccessful indie band.
Let's just head in pretty quick.
Okay. So what do you guys do?
Okay, I'm heading down.
Okay.
The stairs.
Okay. All right, so you're looking. So this is open. You can get into this area via the hole. There used to be floor here, but it's sort of collapsed inward. The trap door, or what used to be a trap door, it's kind of like bent and mangled, is like right here. But you have trap spotter, so if you come within 10 feet of a trap, you are not seeing any traps at this point.
Okay. So when I get into this room, I'm going to actively search for traps right here at this door.
Give me a roll, buddy.
I'm going to roll a perception for Otto to see if he smells anything other than the noxious stuff that he smells.
If he's got air bubble on, he's probably not going to smell anything.
Can we take that off at this point? Do we get the feeling that it's
sure you want to?
Oh, that should be 4 higher for traps, 24.
You don't see any obvious traps. I mean, and it doesn't it's bent, so it's like a circular trapdoor in what would have been the ceiling of this particular room.
Right.
It's bent and wrenched because the floor, it looks like the floor has been sort of twisted a little bit, and it's probably just the forces of whatever happened that jammed this thing into the creature. It just like wrenched that thing. So it's wedged in there. You could probably kick it open. It doesn't look like it has a lock or anything on it. In fact, it's a little, you can see a little bit sort of in the thing, but it'd probably take a strength check of some kind to sort of punch it open or kick it open, whatever you want.
Don't you have a hammer that will shatter that sucker?
No.
The hammer is just a regular +2 hammer, except for some qualities.
Right, right,
It's,
right.
it's not really an evil door, so it's not going to get the extra 2d6.
I think it's an evil door.
I will,
Okay.
I
Door
will
is
try
evil.
to just kick
I
it
checked
open
that door
once.
for
I have
evil.
no high hopes, and then I'll have someone else try it.
All right, give me a quick strength check.
Yes.
Yeah, you kick it pretty hard, but it doesn't. It barely budges. You suspect that there's some sort of barring mechanism on the other side. I mean, it gives a little, and you see like a brief glimpse of something beyond, but yeah, it does not open.
I'm going to let someone else try it, and if they can't do it, then I'll try to or see if I can get it open.
So what? So Illinois, is that Storm coming forward?
Yeah.
To push that open? Okay. All right. So yeah, Storm gives it a nudge, and when she realizes that it's a little bit more of a situation than that, yeah, I mean, it's just not a nudge is going to do it. She puts a shoulder into it, and there's a little bit of strain, and then pop, it pops open, revealing. Hold on a sec.
And then she's backing back up to where she was.
Okay, hold on a sec. I gotta open it up. She's back. She's just
I
stepping
think more
back.
terrible is that she reveals a carnival of clowns. Ah!
What makes you think of that?
Okay. Yeah, it just sort of pops out and smashes down to sort of like down into the bottom. And you can see that you are at this point, and I think Gatto, you notice that you are in the turret. There is we'll tell them what you see.
I see a living organism. There's a hole in this in the tower at this point that we can get into the actual creature, and it's right here. I don't know if I'm looking at a stomach or veins or an ass. It looks like an ass.
So what you see, it looks like, so it's pinkish striated like muscle tissue, and it's a pretty big area, but those areas of green that you see, those look like pools of some sort of green fluid,
or like bile maybe or something.
Yeah, or some sort of, I mean, there's a little bit of not smoke, but I mean, it's
a gaseous cloud coming off.
Yeah, a little bit of like, a little bit of effervescence coming off of it. But yeah, other than that, it's a pretty large area of this striated muscle tissue that's just sort of like, sort of sitting there. It's not moving at all or anything.
Hey guys, get down here.
All right, I'm coming down. Yeah.
Into this room.
Unless there's any, unless we're in initiative, I'm gonna just move down there.
Okay. So yeah, it's
there she is. Ilendar, you coming there?
So Farina, how did you get what?
Yeah.
You melted to the wall.
You just went you went all the way through. Okay. So you guys are sort of like pushing through there. So yeah, it's a pretty big room. You can feel, so Farina, you can feel that, there's like a thrumming underneath. You can tell that you're inside something inside this creature. You go ahead and step in that green fluid, Gatto?
No, I gotta use the Alt key to stay off it, actually.
All right, so these pools of green fluid that are sort of sitting in, I don't know, like indentations, but like low spots in the room, and then the rest of it is these sort of mounds and pathways, for lack of a better term, of this striated muscle tissue. There's with these red lines, like whitish, kind of grayish, with these red lines in it.
Hey guys, I'm gonna go in this door here.
This area right here, this like mound here, looks like scar tissue.
Yeah. Come out and secure this end of the room for a second. Actually, no, that's a bad idea. No, I'm gonna be Fletcher, you and I. You want to be first, Fletcher? I'll be second because this looks narrow enough that we want to go single file.
Thus, where was this in the body?
You go first.
I'm not sure.
Midsection.
Looks very dangerous. You go first.
I mean, maybe like a third of the way back from the, or third to just before, less than half of through the entirety of the body. So maybe a third of the way through.
Okay, are you guys all ready for me to move forward?
Yep.
Yep. We still have a couple characters now. I can't see it or off the map. Is that Lothar? There he is. Okay. And then Otto.
Wait. There we go. Thank you.
Yep. Flash art. Actually, everybody except for Otto, give me a perception check.
20 for me.
Okay.
You got some good ones.
Oh, these are really good ones. Okay.
Do you see where Baru is, Les?
Yeah.
He's gonna kind of check out that if it's an opening. It looks like it is.
It is, yeah. It is an opening. All right, so pretty much everybody, Farina, less so for you, but what you see is everybody else reacting to this. The ground that you guys are standing on sort of begins to clench, and you hear this sort of like noise that seems to come from everywhere and nowhere at once. And then this area right here, and I'm just going to draw around it here just to show you where we're at. This area right here.
Anybody see what he's drawing?
Yep.
Oh, now I see it. Okay. Yeah.
Folds up and grabs onto you guys and also dumps the contents of these green pools onto you.
Great.
So let's just take a little look and see what happens there.
Do we get a reflex save?
I'm not sure. I'm checking.
And Siggy's in the air, so this won't.
Siggy, yeah, wouldn't attack Siggy.
Right.
So
That's not good.
and folds or wraps around his body. Okay, so yeah, this thing the whole. It's like the whole floor folds up and tries to get you. Now it would be essentially a grapple check. So I'm gonna roll for this creature, CMB, and then you let me know if you find yourself grappled.
CMB, right?
You rolling once for all of us or individually?
I'm rolling. You know what? I can roll individually. So here's for Gato. 24. Okay. Fletcher. 38.
Yeah.
Okay. Flash art. 30.
No.
For over my CMB.
CMD.
Your CMD.
CMD. 30, I think gets me. Yeah, it's not my AC, it's my CMD. Yes, it gets me.
Lothar. 36.
Oh yeah, no shit.
Okay. All right. So you guys, whoever missed, so it looks like Gato just sort of like missed it just by a little bit. Fletcher, Flashheart, and Lothar, you guys take on the grapple condition. Hold on, let me write that down.
I just moved up 5, like I jumped out of the way.
Right. Flash, you are grappled. And that acid just flows down into. So essentially, it's like the floor kind of folded up on either side of you. And it because of it, all that acid that was in the low parts suddenly find itself in the high parts, and it flows in and begins filling the channel. It's like you guys are in a big hot dog bun, and somebody just dumped a bunch of acid in the hot dog bun. So I need. So this is happening concurrently with grapple. So you will get a reflex save. The DC here is 18 for acid damage.
We don't have any buffs on, right? Just
Not yet.
20 for me.
All right, so you take half. Lothar, you take full. Fletcher, what about you? 18 made it. So it's 6 points of acid damage. But the problem, so Lothar, you take 6. The rest of the Flashheart, Fletcher, you take 3 each. The problem is the acid is now in there with you, and it will, at this point, begin doing recurring damage in ways. But now that you're grappled, you will not be able to make a reflex save to avoid it. So it'll do 2d6 worth of damage. The rest of you, the whole thing is sort of folding up and trying. It's not like it's trying. It seems autonomous, like it felt something inside it and
like
reacted.
a Venus flytrap.
Yeah.
Or like a stomach.
Or like a stomach.
You hit your stomach, Bardos.
So Bardos and Illindar, you guys are standing on the scar tissue that was probably the result of the stabbing. So you guys are okay. I mean, you guys are a little bit higher than the rest of them. You see very much that this thing just sort of folds up and gets Fletcher and Flashheart and Lothar. Farina, you're off to the side along the edge at the back of a pool. A lot of this pool that you're standing next to, that green pool, has now flowed into the green air, the green surrounded area where Fletcher and Flashheart and Lothar are in. So it's not really there anymore. Storm is sort of like on a, it hasn't like there's folding up around him, but Storm is sort of dodging out of the way, and Otto is still back in the pinnacle. Let's roll for Anish. Shall we?
I'm gonna go to bed.
Yeah, well, you want to? Well, wait. It is 11 o'clock.
The
Do you guys want to stop here and roll initiative next time?
Let's roll initiative next time. Yeah.
Yeah.
Is everybody cool with
Okay.
that?
Yeah, I'm
That's
likely
all
to roll
good.
a 3.
That way we can scheme our way out of finish.
Okay, sounds good. I'll delete these initials, and so that's where we will start next time.
Thanks, Les. That was
All
fun.
Thanks,
right.
Les. Very good.
Thanks.
All right,
Thanks,
thank
Les.
you guys. This is awesome, and I think you guys are gonna. Well, I know I'm gonna have a lot of fun. With
You're
this
gonna have a lot of
particular
fun.
DM.
Yeah. All right.
Night,
Thanks, Les.
guys.
Appreciate it. Good night.
Night.
All right, guys. See ya.
See you later.
One. And stop the recording.